Welcome to the Green Light live show, Week 10 reactions. Fellas, how are we?
Week 10.
I got some reactions. I got a lot to react to. What do you guys want? Where do we start, huh?
There is a lot to react to. First and foremost, we got to get started with the first things first, America's team.
Okay,
right?
let me be your leadoff batter this week.
Okay.
Okay, because I got to take this one. America's teams, number one America's teams, the troops. Okay, hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys and gals had a great weekend. Veterans Day over the weekend. Seriously, we love our vets. Got a chance to get to know a lot of them through our Conquering Kili deal. If you haven't checked that out, look into it. If you're a vet that ever wants to climb Kilimanjaro, we will take you. Hop on the website and check us out. But more than anything, I'm just telling my little 2 cents on it from my personal experience. Running a foundation, you have a lot of people come and go that help your foundation, but the vets, for me, are the people that step up to the plate every time. You know, we'll have people over to East Africa or to some of our domestic water projects, and you think, oh, they're just doing one good thing and it's a one-off. There's no one-offs with veterans. Like, they really do everything they can for causes bigger than themselves. So I just want to thank them in general, but also like in the work that I do, and not all of it is veteran-related work. The folks that have served our country that come home and are looking for more to do, whenever we're lucky enough to have a guy or a gal that wore the uniform help us out, they go the extra mile, and they're just awesome. I appreciate you. You guys do all this stuff.
That's a great way to start, and it's real. I mean, it's a real thing. Everybody that I've met through your foundation at the Water Boys annual golf tournament,
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty much put on there by veterans. I mean, the people that are emceeing
We fell into that.
The people that are like, hey, come with us. We've been. Have a great time. Conquering Kili, you know? So shout out to the veterans, particularly the Water Boys veterans.
I just think about, we got young kids now, and like having to go deploy somewhere and say, see you later to your family for 9 months, for a year. You know, I love to see those videos where they bring, you know, somebody from the Army back to run into a basketball game and their kids shooting free throw shots.
Takes off the umpire mask.
But like behind all that is, I always think about, well, like, you know, we're focused on this, but there are 9 months or a year and a half where that kid didn't get to see their parent because their parents doing what I'm not willing to do. And so I just appreciate veterans, and I hope you guys had a great weekend. Number one America's teams, veterans, quite literally. If they weren't going to make this list, nobody was. Number two, Chris Stapleton fans. New album, Higher, is out. I have been too busy to actually listen to the album, which is a shame. But tonight I'm going to listen to the album.
It's
live
good.
Listen?
There's some solid
Maybe I
blues
should.
trade. It's a little slower, but there's some solid little guitars.
I'll
like
hang
when
out
he's
for a live
bluesy.
listen.
I like when he's bluesy.
Maybe a pregame Monday Night Football live listen.
Well, I'm going to be in an SUV on my way up to damn Philadelphia.
I forget that you
Me
work.
and the driver.
I forget that you work another game.
Yeah, it just doesn't stop. But me and the driver, I hope the driver's a Stapleton fan. So number two, Stapleton fans. Number three, the DeVito family.
Yes.
Okay?
A unit.
Yes. They are a unit. They are the quintessential Italian-American family, and the name to boot and the whole thing. But like, people freaking out. We talked about this yesterday, me and Dr. Fax. People freak out about anything on the internet.
And then when you see his mom, she looks like the mom that is probably excited to have her son.
I thought you were going to say she looked like Carmela.
Yeah, I was like, here it comes.
No, Carmela's not making AJ's bed, but she probably was. But like, I feel like that's the Italian mom thing, and everyone freaking out about it and saying that in the future he's gonna be a failure because he said he has his mom make his bed.
That's wild.
It's absolutely crazy.
Here's what I've figured out. You know, number one, sports fans are just a lot of times just mad at athletes for making a lot of money. So if Tommy DeVito was a first-round pick and he bought a Lamborghini, people are going to be like, he's going to be broke in 5 years. And if he decides to stay at home because his game check is not going to...
And in the most expensive place to live.
What do you want to do? You want him to get an apartment in Brooklyn?
But he's
like,
9 miles away from MetLife, with his house that he grew up in.
This is a fight. You guys are always like, save your money, you idiot pro athletes. That's what this guy's doing.
And then
we're mad at him, too.
Yeah. Fuck him.
So make up your fucking minds. Tommy DeVito, he's all right with me. His family's all right with me. You know, like...
And have you had an Italian mom's chicken cutlet?
Yeah, dude. My
Because
mom. Agnezio is
Like,
my mom's maiden name.
Like, guys, you guys, they just don't understand. Maybe they've never tried chicken cutlets.
They don't get it. They also don't get that the mom said, this is what yesterday you were like, the mom even said that she wants to have him stay at the house. But now, having said that, I don't know what mom is going to be like, I need him to get the fuck out of here when SI calls. But you know, like the dad yesterday, that's your 4th and 3 play
It felt
stands?
like anti-Italian discrimination.
It did.
The whole deal down there in Dallas. It
did.
felt a little racist.
Setting him up to fail like that. We went through like the toughest backup quarterback jobs over the last 5 years, and up there with Hinton, the guy, I think that was his name.
Kendall Hinton, yeah.
Kendall Hinton.
Denver.
For the Broncos, when during the Pandy, they were like, hey, the whole team is sick, so you're going to have to play quarterback, Mr. Wide Receiver, against the Saints. And this is up there. I mean, this is up there with Joe Webb having to start a playoff game. Just having to go down to Dallas against a team that loves to curb stomp people. Now, this was the funniest thing about this game.
They're bullies.
Was at the end of the game, they were really trying to score, the Giants were at the end, and they did. And I was wondering, very Italian American, here I am, but I thought maybe his dad put like, you know, a couple sectionals on the team total over.
I didn't even think about that.
And I'm like watching DeVito, and I'm imagining that his dad's got 20 grand
That would be awesome.
on the team total,
Why
and he's
not?
doing it for his dad.
What? My son's first start? Are you kidding
It would
me?
have been one of
You're
his
going over on
buddies.
the
It would have been one of his buddies that was there. with
Probably his
family,
buddies too.
Who was like under the.
If you're Tommy DeVito, I know you can't like gamble and that sort of thing, and that's a big no-no. But you know all your Italian friends are gambling.
Can't help it.
You know they're gambling. So, anyways,
Everybody.
the DeVitos, they're an America's team. Team total was 12. They went over. The public is an America's team. The Sharps, I'm tired of hearing about you guys. Here's what gambling's all about. If you know what you're talking about, just go with your fucking gut.
I don't know what Sharps is.
The Sharps, they're the people that move the lines, that come in late, they bet the games, and people are like, oh, these mysterious, shadowy figures.
They're like the whales in crypto.
Yeah,
your brother's a sharp.
Who is?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm not a sharp. Yesterday I was a fucking
you're the
sharp.
green-
Okay,
you're
I
the
get
green
it.
light
With
sharp.
these guys as my witness.
So the public.
You're the green light sharp.
With these guys as my witness. No, well, Macon would say he is right now because
on
he's
his way
winning
to
the
becoming
picks.
a sharp. It stands for sharp better. Like you're on your way to becoming a sharp. It's just about winning high enough.
It's about not
percentage.
ignoring the juice and stopping with the big parlays and teasers. But when I pick against the spread, you know, yesterday I think I was 7-3. You can go back and look at it. But the Sharps liked Baltimore. The Sharps liked Jacksonville. The Sharps liked the Chargers.
I liked the Chargers. I liked San Francisco.
Yeah, but I mean,
And I loved Baltimore. Obviously, I lost 300.
you did like
That's
Baltimore,
brutal.
but Macon was scared to death to make that bet because he bet you money line. See, what Macon will do is he'll be like, he'll say something that nobody's going to remember unless it happens. He'll be like, yeah, Cleveland's going to win that game. And then you're like, all right, bet me. And he takes the bet and he's like, wait, I want the points. You know?
He got me, dude.
He got you. He walked you into his trap. Another America's team, Phoebus High School here in Virginia. They won 104-0 against Jamestown in a playoff game. That's a playoff game.
Jamestown still playing football like it's 1604. Obviously, they don't know what they're doing.
No, they really don't. They don't know what happened in Jamestown. They also don't know what happened at Phoebus. All right? And then lastly, sideline coaches. Steve Wilkes went down to the sideline. Everything changed. Somebody else went down to the sideline yesterday. Matt Canada.
Yep.
Everything changed. So get out of the booth, get down on the sideline. Shout out to Macon and his admin last week. Assistants coaches, which is basically a chairlift for coaches to get them down from the box.
good.
It was good, but I couldn't understand what was going on.
I wish I had a visual representation of it at the same time, like a PowerPoint. But you know.
Yeah, it's just So, anyways, assistant coaches using the chairlift to get down to the sideline. That's where they call games the best.
I just think about Tony Soprano's mom coming down the stairs.
She had a chairlift.
Yeah.
I might get a chairlift because I got an English bulldog and he likes to go upstairs and see the kids. And that's a treacherous journey for my man. Like, I've always wanted to put my bulldog in a motorcycle sidecar. If I can get him a chair assist.
Listen, you want to know how to go viral on TikTok? A dog on a fucking chairlift.
I'm on
It'll
it.
be right up.
I'm on it. There's going to be a bunch of
TikTok's
contractors at the house when I get home, people drilling in the wall. Meg's like, what the fuck is going on? Tony needs a fucking chairlift, dude. Okay, so anyways.
It's not a nursing home. It's a retirement community.
It's a retirement community. You're up.
Okay, so I'm up. Here we go. I got to pull out my America's teams list.
Pull it out.
Number 1, the Houston Texans. This is obvious. And it's obvious, guys. The Houston Texans have a guy who is playing a level of football that I haven't seen from a rookie ever. I mean, I can honestly say in my years of being a football fan, there hasn't been a guy that garnered the attention, the respect, and earned it as early as CJ Stroud has in a situation that we all thought was going to be a super poor one. Guys like Noah Brown going out there having, I think it was 170 yards this past game. Tank Dell, week in, week out, stepping up. There's new people to cheer for because this Houston Texans team nailed the quarterback pick. They nailed the quarterback pick, and there's a bunch of teams in the NFL trying to nail that pick. They haven't yet. The Chicago Bears are one of them where they're like, do we have the right guy? Who is the guy to get? And there's a number of other teams like that. But CJ Stroud, the Houston Texans, they're giving people all over the country something to root for if they aren't already latched onto a team. So number one America's teams going up and beating the Cincinnati Bengals, the Houston Texans, into the Lions' den.
I cannot wait to talk about that game.
The Tigers' den.
I can't wait to talk about that game.
Bengals Tigers' den.
Oh yeah, I'll wait till we talk about it.
Number two, the Michigan Wolverines.
Cheaters!
And not just because of the fact that they're cheaters and it's known, but the fact that after that they go and they beat Penn State, and their coach, their interim coach, God, I don't even know the guy's name. He was bawling, crying at the end of the game.
Love that.
I thought Jim Harbaugh died, so I had to put them on the America's teams list because I was convinced that Jim Harbaugh was dead.
When you listened to that coach after the game?
Yes.
Yeah,
Sherrod
like that's
Moore.
dead coach talk.
I was like,
That's dead coach speak.
I wrote immediately, like, America's team, Michigan, dead coach.
I was saying this on Eisen's show earlier. That coach punched his ticket to whatever pro team that Harbaugh is going to coach with next year.
That's
I love
brutal.
He'll
be holding a bag during offensive line drills next year
because
in
he
Chicago.
cried after the game.
He'll be the assistant O-line coach.
Speaking of that, I did get to go to Penn State this weekend.
Right, Nate? That's how it goes.
I don't know.
I can't make Penn State an America's team, but I got to go up there. T-Town one weekend, Happy Valley the next. Not very happy Saturday.
I faded you.
It's like Sad Valley
I
Saturday.
learned that word.
Yeah, you faded me?
Yeah.
I had the under, and I threw a little bit on the Wolverines too, but I was down on the field. I got a media pass. It was cool. It said green light. I was like, this is some bullshit right here that I get to walk around on this field wherever I want to go because I have a podcast. But it was cool, and I ran into like Spice. I told you I saw Spice Adams. I saw Justin King. Any Penn State fans will remember him. I got to hang out with Dex for a long time. And if you're a Penn State fan, you know you got a great coach in Anthony Poindexter. I was in his house till about midnight, hanging out, telling stories. He was one of the best football players I ever saw play. If he didn't hurt his knee, he'd have been like Ed Reed. Came back for his senior year, got hurt against NC State, but now he's a big-time college football coach, just like an elite motivator. If you're a kid out there and you play defense and you're thinking about Penn State, that motherfucker will not steer you wrong. So Penn State, that was a fun trip. I just wanted to shout out the Hagen's family for hosting me and all the Happy Valley people. They were very cool. It was like there's a lot of Eagles fans there too.
The hype is real about
It's real.
Penn State. And it's one of those places, it's called State College, right?
Yes.
And then you've got College Station in Texas A&M, and then you've got College Park in
University
Maryland.
City in
See,
St.
this
Louis.
is a fun game we're playing.
Yeah. Well, here's what's fun
I like
about
this
it.
game. I did it in traffic by myself.
Tuscaloosa and Happy Valley. Tuscaloosa and Happy Valley both feel like we used to play Sim City.
Yeah.
If you used all your coins on like a stadium, and then you're just like, the rest of it.
Fuck off. They hate you now.
No, they don't. No, I mean like
You just shit on Tuscaloosa.
that's not shitting.
They
no,
would use their coins on the stadium.
they would
love
agree
it.
with me. Like it's not about hey, we've got this strip mall here.
Here's the things you use your points on if you're in the SEC. Church, number one.
We got to build a big church.
Stadium, number two.
Stadium's got to be a little bigger.
Bars.
Coach got to get paid as only less than the mega church guy.
Greek residences, right?
Greek residents?
Yeah, frat houses.
Oh,
sorority
okay. I
houses.
think we were talking euros.
Yeah, I'm not talking like immigrant housing.
Yeah, okay. Immigrant housing.
That's my power rankings for
Okay.
Tuscaloosa needs.
Okay. Okay,
so what did I just do? I just did Michigan.
Yeah, yeah.
How did we get to Tuscaloosa?
Because of Penn State.
Okay, Vikings number 3. Mm-hmm. You know what? I feel like I got to put this on. I'm not going to go very long on this one. The Pastronaut, awesome stuff. Electric.
Yeah.
Way to go, Josh Dobbs. Number 4, San Francisco 49ers. They were a team that was the class of the NFL a few weeks ago. The House of Cards, we talked about it. They fell apart. Trent Williams out, Deebo Samuel out, but now they're back, and we see Trent Williams featured outside, external runs, getting out there in front, reverses, things of that nature. The offense looked to be what it has been historically, which I love. San Francisco, number 4. And then number 5, the Lions. You made some money on the Lions, and I know we've got a phone call coming up here soon. So I'm going to wrap my America's teams.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going, though.
Detroit Lions, though, the run game travels. David Montgomery back. A lot out of Gibbs. Dan Campbell. Big shout out to Dan Campbell. Number 5, the Lions.
I got one to throw in. I can't call it America's team because it is going to be Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who have made it to the Grey Cup.
Oh, he's got his jersey on.
Made it to the Grey Cup, and they are looking for their 13th Grey Cup win in franchise history. So shout out to them.
How
and
many
shout
teams are playing?
Before this special guest, I just want to point out, if there's any Winnipeg Blue Bombers fans out there, and I was to ask you what's your favorite Nate Collins play, you might say any number of the plays where he was out there running like a mad dog in a meat house on an edible because he took an edible the day before a game.
They're actually playing in that stadium for the Grey Cup championship. Hamilton Tigers, we playing against.
You were out there like Mr. Krabs in that meme. You were like, what's the call? Where am I? This guy's concussed. No, he's on drugs. So congrats to the Blue Bombers.
Congrats to the Blue Bombers, and shout out to Jake Thomas, one of my Canadian teammates who is still on the team. Wrecking shop, do your thing. Hopefully,
Damn,
you get a
still
sack.
doing it.
Yeah, man. D tackle too. Big guy. Yeah.
Okay.
He's like my Cody Whitehair. Cody Whitehair still plays. Who still plays that you other than AD?
There's only a few. I mean, like I see Lane, BG. I saw BG on the sideline.
All our
in
friends
Michigan.
are in retirement communities.
I snuck up on BG over there in the corner by the Michigan side, and we talked for like 35 minutes. I didn't know he was going to be there. He didn't know I was going to be there. That was pretty fucking cool. Like two guys that won a Super Bowl together.
I hate
just running into each other. He fucking
just smiling at you.
but just right, yeah.
Don't fucking look at me, BG.
Don't look at me. Like it's my 4-year-old's new thing. Don't look at me.
What's wrong?
It's the same thing with BG. Don't look at me. But yeah, no, we've got a special guest coming up here any minute. But a little hint on who it might be. I want to talk about the Steelers before we get into everybody.
Perfect.
I think the run game is a revelation for them, and I think Broderick Jones, the big guy from Georgia who they've had stashed away, since he's been in the ball game for them, I think they've run for 371 rushing yards, 4.9 an attempt versus 3.8. 0.99 yards before contact, previously 1.76 over the previous stretch, or over the latest stretch with Broderick Jones in the lineup. And, like Kenny Pickett after that Thursday night game, Tomlin was like, fielding questions about his rating and all this stuff. And he's like, what's his rating in the fourth quarter? Sticking up for his quarterback, because he has an idea that Kenny's clutch. But in a game like yesterday, it sure is nice in that fourth quarter where there's Warren or Harris to get those runs going and get into plus territory to kick a field goal or flip the field. That's what they did the whole fourth quarter. They ran the ball. And so I think this fits their identity as a team that plays in close ball games. They've been outgained in every game. They've won a bunch of one-score games. This Mike Tomlin knows how to coach these things. And the defense finishes the job often. They did it yesterday. The Steelers, you might not believe they're a good team, but they have 6 wins. And they have a shot to win that AFC North. So excited to any minute welcome on a guest from that team. But when it comes to the AFC North, we're going to talk about the Browns. We're going to talk about the Ravens. It's like, I don't know who wants to win this thing. The Bengals, they were hot as fish grease, came down to earth yesterday. This thing's wide open. And I think if you pick the order of this division preseason correctly, you're a fucking genius, because it is all over the place. And as of today, the Bengals don't get in the playoffs. And that not talking about the AFC North, the Bills, the same thing. If the playoffs started today, the Bengals would not be in, which is just wild. And the Browns, for all the problems they've had, are now sitting there, 7-3? And they look like
with a quarterback
6-4,
who's figuring out how to play quarterback, with a defense that's playing like themselves. And for the Steelers, you talked about the running back position and being able to rely on that as opposed to just being like, hey, Kenny clutch, make it happen. I mean, they had no idea how to use those two. They didn't know which buttons to press early in the season. With Harris, they were using him the wrong way in a lot of Steelers fans' minds, and now you're able to lean on Warren more.
Who's great.
And it frees up
His
Harris
spin
to be
move
able
is
to do some of the
nasty.
things that works well with Najee in his game.
Yeah.
And Kenny's more comfortable as a result of it. And we're going to see more development of down the field passing, I think, with this running game garnering the respect that it should.
And they were able to get some movement yesterday because I think Green Bay had some guys down in the secondary and that sort of thing. So it's not the biggest test they'll see. They're going to get the Browns coming up this week. And, Kenny Pickett, this is going to be a big spot for him. If you want to be talked about as an actual contender, this is a game that you got to go win, and I think they have a shot to do that at the Browns. I'm excited about the Steelers.
They go at the Browns, at the Bengals.
Excited about the Steelers' opportunity this week.
And we'd love to introduce our guest here on the Greenlight Live Week 10 Reaction Show, TJ Watt.
Yes,
Wow,
dude.
TJ
Yes.
Watt. Here we go.
What's up,
Stud.
TJ?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, brother.
dude.
How you
I'm
doing?
on like a 1984 computer. I don't know what our PR guy has going on.
That's amazing.
Nah, dude.
You sound great, look great.
Fucking throwback guy like TJ Watt. He's got a throwback computer. That's the way it's supposed to be.
All-star.
TJ,
All-star.
we love watching you play, dude. I don't think I've ever talked to you, man. Big fan of your game. I don't think anybody works their hands better than TJ Watt in the game. I don't think there's anybody I want with a rush with the game on the line more than TJ Watt. And my first question to you, TJ, would be, with as many close games as you play in, like let's take 3 seconds to go in that game yesterday or the Tennessee game where it comes down to the goal line. I know as a rusher, that's your dream. Maybe you don't want to be stressed out late in the fourth, all these games, but as a rusher, take me through what's going on in your head with 3 seconds to go in that game yesterday or with the game on the line against Tennessee.
Yeah, those are the moments that everything in the offseason is for. I mean, those are the moments when you're sitting there and you're out of breath completely and you're looking at the old tackle and you see he's out of breath and you just know that you have just a little bit more in the tank than him because of all the work that you put in throughout all the offseason training, every single rep of practice, every late night of watching film is all for that moment. And that's why it sucks when you can't come away with that big play. But I'm glad that our guys in the back end and, the guys in the middle have been able to come up with huge plays. But, yeah, 2-minute drills in the NFL when you know the snap count, you know they're passing, especially late in the game when you know you're probably not going to get a chip, are very hard to come by. And you have to make the most of them. And that's why it's just time to pin your ears back and throw your best stuff.
And that was going to be my other question was, as a rusher, are you a feel guy, or do do you come into a game with a game plan, or do you have that game plan and then you're able to move in and out of it? Because I always noticed you might watch a guy on tape and say, oh, his anchor's a problem for him, but then you're like, oh, well, it was because it was Julius Peppers. Of course.
Exactly.
And as the game goes on, do you find yourself making adjustments, and then at the end of the game, do you save a home run?
Yeah, and that's why the iPads are so crucial. I mean, it was really nice in the preseason because in the preseason they actually tried out where you could watch like actual video clip for the first time. So that was pretty cool where you could see where the hands were going so you could make true in-game adjustments. But yeah, you always go into a game with a game plan. But like you said, you kind of have to find, at least I found, you have to find rushers that are very similar to you because you can't watch, like I can't watch my brother play against a tackle think that tackle's going to play me exactly how he played him. So that's part of it. And then in the game, they're always scheming different things, whether they try to hold the outside hand because they know you're a chop guy, or they try to flash it for a second, or if they're going to just try to throw right at your chest. So you really have to get back to the sidelines, look at the iPads and see if he's really opening the gate up when we can run a game, or if you just want to work hands. But yeah, it's like chess. It really is. But that iPad is crucial.
TJ, Kyle here, and you say it's like chess, and to me it looks like you're playing chess and most people are playing checkers, but make no mistake about it, in the offensive line room throughout the week, we're trying to scheme how to get you blocked with extra guys, chips, inside, outside. Are there ever times where you feel like a chip may help your rush?
I hope more. I wish it would help me more than it actually does, but I mean, the only ones that really can help is if like a tight end, they're starting to like kind of mess with their alignments, right? So a lot of times you'll see guys now, they'll start outside the hashes, these tight ends, they'll motion them in because when they're off the line, they can kind of motion and dictate where they want to go. Whereas if they line up on the line of scrimmage, they can't motion and go. So I can kind of come outside, come inside a little bit, try to shoot the gap, or we can run like a quick TE game or a quick exit game. But the hard ones are when those guys are outside at like that 3.5, that weird space where if I get outside, I'm way too far away. But if I get inside, I'm kind of pinning myself where he can just, that's where you see all those like decleaters. But the only good part about that is sometimes if I'm able to stand up, that tackle doesn't really understand and he oversets it. And then I get chipped into like pretty much an exit game, which has happened a couple times in my career. But chips are tough, man. They really are, and I think that's why you're seeing more of them as my career continues. Which we just have to figure out a better way to attack them.
Yeah, but you're right. Like that tight end reduced late where you get your hand in the ground and you're like, oh, shit,
Mm-hmm.
I got to get up and walk outside of him. You know, the back coming up, you can spin against that, and I've seen you do that and that sort of thing. But they throw a lot at you. Benton, man, he's been fun to watch. And, you know, I can tell you like playing with him. Yesterday saw you guys celebrating together. What's
Yep.
it like seeing these young guys making plays?
It's huge. I mean, when you can get the interior, I mean, as edge rusher, you know, when you can get that interior push, it makes life so much easier for us. And to be able to really burn the corner, knowing that the quarterback's not going to be able to step up, makes life a lot easier for us. And having a guy that's 300, 310 plus pounds and be able to move like he does, he's one of the only guys that I know that can actually do like the capture the shoulder, like a drill tape.
Yeah.
Like hit the two shuffles and then over, like the swim over. Like I never see that work until he came here, and it's like his bread and butter. But he's been playing some really good football for us, and I mean it's not just in the pass game. I mean he's playing the run really well, and I don't want to talk him up too much, get his head too big,
Yeah,
but he
get
is
his
playing
head
some really good football. And it's that Badger. I mean that 3-4 defense. That's why you see the correlation with Jim Leonard's defense. It's very similar to what we do here. It's pretty much just translating the language once you get here, but all the movements he's very familiar with, as you can tell.
Are you encouraged by the depth at back, or just, you know, you feel like guys can step up because Quan's a big loss? You know, I know that hurts, but you guys got to keep it moving. How do you feel about the depth at backer, and what do you have to do to get those guys ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, Elandon Roberts is an incredible player. I think he's done it for a long time. I mean, just a guy that's a steady voice. He's a guy that feels like he's a starter from day one. So even when he came in yesterday, it's not like you had to minimize the play sheet for him. He's been in the league for a long time. He knows exactly what he needs to do out there. He's a thumper. Takes a lot of pride in his work. Yeah, he's a thumper, man.
Dude.
And it's like, dude, just keep your head out of things and we'll be all right.
Yeah, he's like friendly fire. He could.
Yes.
You got to watch him.
Yes, I mean, you should see some of the practices. It's like, man, it's a Wednesday here in season, or even like a Thursday, and it's like we don't have any pads on. Let's just calm down. But it's setting the tone. It really is, and it's that old school football. It's setting the tone. I mean, AFC North, a game like this week too. You need a guy like that, and Quan was a guy that was very energetic, very vocal, and E-Rob is more of a quiet guy, but he's able to deliver messages with how he plays the game.
You got to ask
Mark Robb.
Sorry, go ahead, buddy. Sorry,
No, go ahead.
A little delay. Go ahead, finish your.
Yeah, Mark Robb playing alongside him is a thumper as well. So I think the two of them in there is going to be a little Bash Brother tandem.
You got to ask Elandon Roberts about when he gave me a concussion in practice and walkthrough. I mean, it was
a walkthrough.
Yeah, dude, walkthrough. It was like one of those tackling drills where we're just fitting up. And he caught me right on the button, and I went over to Matt Patricia. I was like, I don't think I'm good, bro. Elandon Roberts is as hard a hitter as there is in the game, dude. You talked about the AFC North, the physicality of that division. It's always been physical. Do you think this is the most physical and best that it's been in your time as a Steeler?
I mean, just off the records, I think so. I mean, it's just so competitive. And we have the quarterbacks. I mean, just go down the list of quarterbacks that we have to face each and every week, the teams that are running the ball at a high level. And then obviously it seems like all the defenses are playing extremely well too. So they're always smash mouth, blood bath type of games. Coach T always talks, we know everything about them. They know everything about us. So it's just all about executing, taking care of the football, and creating that splash. And this week will be no different. I think there's a great slate of games. The Thursday night game is obviously a huge divisional game, and then ours on Sunday will be no different.
With Broderick Jones, seems like a revelation, this guy. Your run game has kind of taken off. I know it's probably not all just him, but how fun is it to see him out there, but also that Steelers offense look like a physical, throwback kind of Steelers O?
Yeah, he's been a boost. And I mean, something about those Georgia guys that just come in with crazy confidence. I mean, it must be just that SEC type confidence. They feel like they've seen it all, and it's contagious. When you have a guy that comes in and believes in himself, goes to work every day, is just trying to develop and has that smash mouth mentality, He's very gritty at how he finishes plays. As you see yesterday with some of the pulls and things like that, and it's contagious. And it's been able to rub off on the offense to be able to have 200 rush yards, whatever they had yesterday. We just want to continue to build off of that, and it's fun for me to go up against Broderick in practice because it's a young guy that's always trying to continually ask me things, and it's fun for me to go up against a guy that's always trying something new. He's not just trying to beat me, holding his hands every play or doing something different. He's actually trying things so we can work together, and I think it's making both of us better.
TJ, I get the opportunity on some weekends to work with your brother, JJ, who's a great guy. I hated him when I was in the league, and now I love working with him. He is honestly a pleasure to work with, and I've getting to work with my brother. I get to see JJ be the biggest fan of you every week. Are we going to see some of that while you're still playing? Are you going to get involved with the media? Do you have a plan to do that side of things? I know you're on your way to Canton in your career right now, but I mean, look, you're going to be bored after football, and JJ's having fun with it.
He's a natural, man. He really is, and he's good at everything he does. I've always said he's just public speaking in front of a camera. He's really well. He plays well off of people. Just very smart guy. Always loved that about him, but it's not for me. It really is, and I'm not a. I mean, I don't love doing a whole bunch of interviews and things. I mean, our PR guy's laughing here because I'm always just let me focus 1 week. Just leave me alone for 1 week.
Yeah.
But I think when I'm done, I've always said I'd love for Derek, my middle brother, to be like a head football coach, and me, I just be like a D-line coach for like high school or something. I think
You need an O-line coach.
That'd be like my lane, because I could show up to practice. If I'm there, it's cool. If I'm not there, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be the head guy.
How cool is it though? Because I remember when I retired, getting to see Kyle's games, and give him a hug after the game. We played against each other a couple times. Big boy got in a couple fights in those games, so he wasn't in the mood for a hug after the game. But just for you and JJ to be able to see each other in the tunnel, and for you to know that he watched every snap, that's got to be cool.
Yeah, it's special. Just when you think back about how many Houston games I went to and all the tailgates and watching football that he played down there, and it's every snap, you guys know how it is. I'm not watching the game, I'm watching him. I can't watch anything else. I don't know how to explain it. So then, for him to in turn have that for me was very surreal. For him to come to Pittsburgh to see all the 90 jerseys, to live out the experience just that I had in Houston all those years is kind of wild. And then, you guys know too, it's you're so in tune with how you think, and you think the same way. So after a game, it's so refreshing to have a guy that I'll be like, dude, on that one rush, he's like, oh, I know, I don't want to say it, but now that you say it, we'll talk about it. And it's it is cool. We sat up for, it was a night game on Thursday when he was out here. We stayed up till 2 or 3 in the morning, just talking about football, and it's just that's something I'll remember forever. And it's just it's a special bond, and it's only someone that you grew up with that has walked in the same path that you have that will understand, and that's why it's so special.
And most sacks in 100 career games, it's Reggie White, TJ Watt, JJ Watt.
Unreal.
What does that mean to you?
Good parenting.
It's I don't know, man. None of it registers, honestly. I don't have I can't even fathom all the stuff that's been accomplished, and I'm sure one day we'll sit down and watch a whole bunch of highlights and talk about everything. But I just I don't know. It can't get through my mind what's happening. I just know that I'm just addicted to the process of continually trying to get better, and I'm just so hungry that it's just a massive game this week.
Yeah.
And there's no time to sit back and pat myself on the back and get a big head. And I just know how special that this moment is. I know how short of a period that I have to play this game, and I'm trying to maximize the most of it. And I just want to keep going.
Legend.
One more question for you. With it being such a physical game in the AFC North, and for you, I see you flying around. You're every down guy. So I know it hurts on Monday, and especially when you got another physical game coming up. What's your process as you've gotten older in the league to get your body right? I don't think people realize how full-time a job that is.
Yeah, honestly, it's staying active. I used to, after games on Mondays, I'd be too sore to do anything, and then Tuesday would be even worse, and then Wednesday I would be kind of crawling into the week. And now it's kind of today I got in, I made sure I got in the tubs and I lifted and I'm moving and I'm just keeping my body active. And keeping my blood circulating. It's been helping me a lot more, and obviously a lot more knee, ankle, hip, mobility type stuff, all the boring stuff that nobody wants to see, but it's the stuff that's keeping me healthy and able to, on Wednesdays, I'm actually productive instead of kind of crawling into the week and being super sore. And I can work on my hands and things like that. So then when Friday comes around, I'm actually running on full cylinders, and I don't get to the game and I'm hitting full speed reps for the first time. And I think that's something I've gotten a lot better at as my career's progressed.
Well, hopefully we see another 10, 12 years of that, because we love watching you play. And good luck this week and beyond, bro. You are a terror out there, dude. We love to watch it. So
Keep getting after it, man.
Keep going,
Thanks for
dude.
coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Take care.
Yeah, of course. And a big thank you to Michael from the Steelers for hooking that up. I mean, that was cool getting to talk to TJ. Guy's a total badass. I said this last week. I know he doesn't want to do like media shit,
That was funny.
but it's so true. You can tell out of the two, like
But JJ was that way when he played.
JJ
Early on.
JJ was a little different. Like,
I'm telling you, JJ had no interest.
I don't think TJ is going to be doing the things that Now, what I was going to say was that Del Taco commercial
It's good.
is terrific. Okay,
It's not Del Taco, is
whatever
it?
it is. I'm buying the wrong tacos. The commercial's so good I can't
Del
even focus on
Salsa.
it. Whatever it is. The fucking guy, TJ, I said this last week. I don't know if I said it to you. Closer to anybody in the game today reminds me of Howie Long.
You did.
Yeah.
All ball.
All ball, no smiling. When he does, it's like $1 million smile. Good-looking guy.
Doesn't have a rear view mirror. Just looks forward.
Yeah.
Wants to just mow things down in his path.
He reminds me of what I looking back at our dad playing. TJ kind of reminds me of that. So just a terrific player. We won't talk about the Steelers again this show. That's our breakdown for that game. But the AFC North, as we're going to talk about in a little bit, is wide open.
I will say this. Jordan Love had some good-looking throws down the field.
He did. He really did.
He
and
did.
this is
And
what
I've said that we were talking about this off air.
Want to see the deep
Why do we
balls.
always fucking say good things off air? But,
No.
the Packers are a team that you could play Madden with, trade the quarterback immediately in Madden if you're not a Jordan Love guy, and work around the core of young receivers and skill players and the defensive rushers, things of that nature. You got good corner, you got a good edge rusher, but Jordan Love was the question mark. He looked pretty good throwing the football down the field at times.
Brian G said, and of course his name is Brian Gutekunst, the guy's name I can't say.
I won't say it.
Brian G, he's out there. He's like, listen, it's not cutting time for Jordan Love. The second half of this season, this guy's got to prove to us that he's the guy. And my argument was, open it up. Let's find out. Because you can't find out keeping the dog on the porch, man. You got to let the dog run. And
Have faith. Throw it to a Christian.
And Christian, that's a guy who Packers fans are kind of down on right now. Some of them are blaming some of the turnovers for him, the way he competes for the ball. And Christian's saying, hey, what about Devontae Adams when he started out in Green Bay? And that's just in saying that, you're comparing yourself to Devontae Adams.
Strange.
I think I don't know if it's strange, but it's like Christian didn't say that. But I think fans can look at the Devontae Adams situation and say, hey, this guy took a while. I think the kid's super talented, obviously. But I also like Romeo Doubs. He's my favorite guy there. And
He has been.
And Wixie is wahoo. So
He has been your favorite, though.
But some of the balls that some of the balls that Jordan threw yesterday were very good, and we said we wanted to see him throw the deep ball. People say he's not a good deep ball thrower. Well, we got to see him try to throw the deep ball. And yesterday, with the big targets they have, taking advantage of that and trying to take some shots, I think that's better. That's a start.
This is his tryout.
The tryout has begun. Guys, the first game I just want to break down. We're going to go out of order today a little bit because Sunday Night Football was electric.
Let me know so I can get my note cards in order.
This was the Canaanites were out there chucking rocks. It was a rock fight to end all rock fights,
The autumn
man.
wind was a rock fight.
I didn't even flinch at 36. I was like, come on, Cletus. 36, make it 34. I'll still bet it. I don't care. Give me an Iowa total, Iowa Rutgers. I'll still bet it.
Zerline was trying to fuck up your bet.
I know. Well, Zach Wilson was trying to fuck it up until at the very end when he threw that pick. Now, he did kill a parlay that would have been gorgeous for your boy. But Zach Wilson, I just want to simplify this conversation. It's all about the quarterback. Okay, like we can say, hey, this team was not set up for him. Hackett might not have been the guy you hired if it was Zach Wilson. It's not the offense that you came in and installed for Zach Wilson. But at the end of the day, even for as much as Chris Collinsworth wants to say, hey, like the whole Collinsworth talking into anything, you can't talk me into this one, because I'm not going to do this every Monday. I don't think Jets fans deserve to hear this every Monday. Even the ones that early in the season when we were hard on Zach said, you guys are too hard on Zach. I think, 2 months later, fast forward, you're listening now. Do you want to do this every Monday morning? If you do, we can keep breaking down 16, 13 ball games, and you can tell me what about the couple sidearm throws that he made late in the game. There was one sidearm throw I was like, oh, wait, maybe Aaron is off the Achilles. Is he out there? Because he does look every once in a while like this guy that you can build around.
I mean, down to the Hail Mary scramble.
He's the best Hail Mary.
The ability to get into the tight hallway down the left sideline, square up his feet, deliver a strike, and then the absolute pass breakup.
Yeah, I mean,
down there.
And here's the thing. If you're the Jets, maybe you try to play into more of these Hail Mary situations. Because
Sanders was
I've
on
never
the Hail
seen
Mary team down there breaking up passes.
Yeah, dude. But the bottom line is this. Zach Wilson's not it. And it sucks for him. I'm not sitting here. This isn't an indictment on him as a person. This isn't an indictment on him as to be a top 5 quarterback, to have a college career like that, to play in the NFL. If he plays 10 years in the NFL, that's amazing, dude. You hit it out of the park. So if I was
relatively speaking,
yeah, no, I mean, this is the best of the best, and it's the hardest position in the league to get down. So I'm not sitting here trying to tear down Zach Wilson. It's a production business. I saw the look on his face after he threw that pick. I mean, you'd thought his dog died, You'd thought all his favorite MILFs died of old age. You'd have thought
Kendra Lust got COVID.
You'd have thought Kendra Lust was on IR. Okay? You'd have thought Brandy Love got hit by a train. Okay?
Any more of those?
No. But I felt for him, man, in that moment. And you can say this, you can say he's not it, but also think about the human being. He's doing the best he can. He's just not that guy. And so
at what point is the organization doing him a disservice keeping him in? They've scored 31 points the past 3 weeks. Why do they need to see that? Shouldn't they?
Because I don't know if they like the other options.
They don't like the other options, and here's the deal. Saleh and management and ownership, they're on the same page. They said it last week. So I mean, my theory is that the same page as this. It's he's not the guy, but we have to put him out there to see if he can increase his trade value. And that's about it.
Trade value. I mean, yikes, because it's not working out, right? And
he's not the guy. You said it.
Yeah, no. And I said this yesterday.
If not him, then what? And how?
Yeah, and at the end of the game, Kyle, when they blow that game, I said to these guys, there's going to be a mutiny on the plane. And I've been in defensive rooms where we were dominant and our offense wasn't great, and it can really wear on you. Not only week in and week out, but when you if you're Mosley or you're one of these guys, if you're Quincy Williams or fucking any of these guys, you look up and you're like, where'd the last 2 years go of my career? That's a sobering thing when you look up and you say, did I just waste my prime? And I think some of those guys were entering into that territory where I don't trust that they're going to get it right. Because
it's wild to me that there are so many extremely talented guys across the NFL that are on teams in situations like the one you just described, and John Q. Public and Green Light Pod listeners will never get to experience them in their fullest form because they just don't have that carrot dangling in front of them that some of these elite teams have, and you see guys step up for elite teams week in, week out.
Here was one of the funniest moments of the game last night because it was all about the broadcast. There wasn't a lot going on. But Collinsworth was like, well, when I talked to them, they were like, these are the guys they want to build around. They want to build around like Devontae Adams and Anthony, or is it Anthony Spillane? What's his name?
Robert
Spillane. Robert Spillane.
Big dome.
Who's, by the way, congratulations, his wife's pregnant. He did the post-game interview with a football in his shirt the whole time. I thought he was just gonna he was like, we're pregnant. And he put a football in his shirt, and then they panned away, and 2 minutes later they go back to him for a question. He's sitting there with a football in his shirt. But Collinsworth was like, Spillane? And I guess the lesson is there's guys you haven't heard of making plays everywhere. I'm like, man, do you watch Steelers game? I know he might not be the best player in the world, but this motherfucker, if you meet him in the hole, you're going to be feeling it for a couple weeks. And to seal the game with that pick, really special. They called him out in the broadcast. Collinsworth kind of chuckled about it. He takes the game away from the Jets, and I just wanted to shout him out. Yeah.
There's
good-
a lot
good player.
going on in that NBC, the football FNI. Can we talk about that for a second?
Whatever you want to talk about.
The note cards that Tony Dungy and all the guys, Rodney Harrison and Jack Collinsworth. First off, shout out to Jack Collinsworth. A lot of people have things to say about sons of athletes and broadcasters in media, and I like Jack Collinsworth. I think he does a really good
Got
job.
a great head of hair.
But they wear that. They had those fucking note
Him
cards.
and Washburn.
They had those note cards that said FNIA, and it was like one of those. It was like I was watching an international soccer exhibition or
Yeah.
something. The acronym didn't make any sense to me. Football Night in America. No,
okay,
it's
got it.
It's Sunday Night Football,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Like SNF. Just stick to that. You've got the rights to the game. Stick to that. Also, when they go to the studio, first off, McCourty, great. Jason Garrett, awesome, riveting stuff every week. I love
Also,
watching
Jason
the coach.
McCourty, great across the pond with
Him and
Eisen.
Rich, him and Rich, and Dan last week with them was good too. But really, I'm just my anti-Bevel Conway. I'm going to get it out of the way early. Miller Lite moment. The NBC in studio, they had the Vegas skyline behind them, and it was just so much. It was too much to look at.
And
between the Sphere and the Sphinx and the Great Wall of China, and
and that Italian restaurant that the mob guys were like, you got to fucking come out of commercial. You hear?
That's really, that was my takeaway from that.
Well, now we're entering cornucopia season where every fucking set's going to have a bowl of squashes and fucking gourds. It's the dumbest shit in the world. It's the ugliest thing in the world. I know it's Thanksgiving. Let's leave the cornucopia.
It's a microaggression.
It's a microaggression. It's like having a Christmas tree up right now.
They
So
say
put
that,
3
they
up.
say that people who have Christmas trees up early are usually happier.
That makes sense.
Suck it, Trebek.
All right, so let's get into my favorite game of Sunday. Kyle, I was sitting here last night, and I'm supposed to break down all the games. I was behind all night and into the morning because of this fucking game, because I could not stop watching the Houston Texans. offense.
It was like a football porno.
It was football pornography.
It was like the
Kyle.
first time the And One mixtape came out. And we were in like junior high, and we were like, "Look at these motherfuckers dribble!" I'm like, "Look at this quarterback throw everywhere."
Yo,
Yes.
Vince McMahon meme. It was a great time.
Also, we said this last night. Zach Wilson might be like an and one quarterback, where he can do all the funky shit well. Where you're like,
When
you
they
want me
say
to
why,
submarine?
why isn't the professor in the NBA? You know, the white guy.
He's
and
the
it's like,
white
Well,
he's
we
the
put him in the
professor.
NFL.
This is Zach
Well,
Wilson.
Skip to my Lou did it.
Yeah,
Skip to my Lou.
Ray for
Not the
Alston.
little white
Ray
guy
for
though.
Alston, yep.
yeah, but more so the professor. So, anyways, here's my take.
Escalade. The big guy,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Yes.
We're gonna
Mark Jackson's brother, if you didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Wrestler.
No, Mark Jackson.
No,
the
Mark Jackson, the
player.
basketball player,
That
turned it down.
Escalade, rest in peace, is his brother.
I had no idea.
You didn't know.
I thought Mark Jackson was the giant black guy wrestler who wears the
No.
unitard. Mark Henry.
Mark Henry. Come on.
Big guy.
Yes.
Big guy.
Oh my God! Have you heard Mark Henry call a Pacers game? So
Hand down, man down.
hand down, man
I
down.
know who Mark Jackson is
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
Goatee.
So here's, I think the Bengals knew. I think the Bengals knew these guys could cook because, and I think they had some guys down and they knew, hey, we got to be aggressive. 4th and 3 early, they knew, because when they hit that cover 2 beater to Irwin, you're thinking, oh, they're not gonna miss a beat. The whole
Jamar
thing.
the decoy.
They scripted him up. It was beautiful. It looked like Bengals football. But you had then a spell of like 5 punts in a row. And 4 of these punts, 4 of these possessions, they ran 16 plays. Okay, so there are 3 and outs and 2 sets of downs on one of them. But over that course, here's what I took away. The Texans could have run away with this game. Because while they're punting the ball, the Texans fumble a snap on the 9. They score a touchdown on a 3-minute drive. They fumble at the Cincinnati 31. They kick a field goal. The third downs, the extended plays, they really could have won going away here. And I think CJ Stroud's the main event. I'm watching the game on all 22. I'm watching Aiden O'Connell and Zach Wilson. I'm like, is this the same sport? This is a quarterback, and I feel like we are. Fuck it. You guys are gonna say I'm getting out over my skis. I try not to be
Do
overreactive.
it. I can't wait to
I'm
hear
gonna
this.
do it. CJ Stroud's an elite quarterback.
He's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Well, statistically speaking, this year, if you're looking at picks and that sort of thing,
I mean,
if they won out, somebody said if they won out, would he win the MVP?
But I asked you that last week when I had mentioned, MVP after he had that
laughed.
one game, and everyone.
Well, I didn't know they were going to go on the road and beat the Bengals.
yeah, I didn't know all that.
You want to do stuff? You want to do?
Hold on a minute,
player. You want to do stuff like this? You want to win games like this down the stretch? They will talk about you in that light, and they should.
3
talk about
turnovers
because Kyle
on the road.
I can watch a freaking Lions game. I can watch a Dolphins game. I can watch some of these other offenses that are high-powered, and they'll rack up yards, and some of the chunk plays are there. And not all these balls are tight window throws that CJ Stroud's making, but they are elite arm talent fucking throws. They are like wow throws. Like when you watch John Phillips hit a softball, the way it's different in our softball league.
Yeah,
like it's just like, oh my god, this guy's different. It's the same thing with bro. The boot, when he booted to the left hash and threw the ball and then bounced to the right hash and threw the ball to the opposite numbers, 41 yards down the field in the air. I mean, my jaw was on the floor. When it was in the third quarter, when he boots out into Trey Hendrickson, and he's like, oh shit, and then he climbs the pocket, bails out the back of it, and wheels backwards, and he's like, whee, 37 yards in the air to Noah Brown, just jumping. It's like, dude, the fucking flick of the wrist to Tank Dell by the pylon to get him inside the fine.
The most impressive one to me was the one that didn't count as a touchdown. It was the Robert Woods illegal touchdown. I mean, what the fuck is going on out here?
Who the fuck is this guy? And how did people miss this so badly?
Because he scored poorly on that test.
Because honestly, Kyle, you want to talk about rookie quarterbacks? I've been out of the game for 4 or 5 years doing this for a living and watching quarterbacks. Like when I played them, you watched them getting ready for the game. But now I have to watch quarterbacks. And I don't think I haven't seen a rookie like this. But on top of that, the last guy that reminded me of this kind of great, like when he came in, was the guy on the other sideline yesterday. That poise in the pocket, that cool, like, I don't know who has more ice water in their veins, him or Joe Burrow. And so, like, to go beat that guy with the Ohio State background, the whole thing, this is a huge game for them. He was unflappable. Logan Wilson almost picked him early in the game. He was mugged up. He dropped out. He was like, okay, this
called
is
that on Tops, by the way.
Yeah, that Logan might.
I said double nickels. Watch him being mugged up in the A gap and dropping out. They're going to show CJ this, and they're going to.
Yeah.
And he almost fucking had it.
Yeah. Well, he didn't pick him, and then he comes back and he's like, let's just run our offense. Let me just go. Or late in the game, throwing that pick, coming back in 2 minutes. And just moving the ball down the field. Not to mention the first play of that 2-minute drive is a drop by Tank Dell that could go for 25 yards. A lot of guys are going to go in the tank after that. So not only the high-end throws, but his fucking what?
Tank. A lot of guys going to
that. That's true. I didn't even mean to do that. When you're cooking, you're cooking. But he's just unflappable.
Noah Brown is
played.
a man.
He's a man, bro.
And when they threw him the ball and they had to have it, he looked like Adrian Peterson.
He trucked
with
Jermaine
3 bodies
Pratt.
on him. Like, I'm going to take this football where I want to go.
He trucked the linebacker. That's not a buddy pass, but he's going to get blown up.
He looked like a cold. Everyone wanted to avoid him. Every time they moved around, he just dropped him.
No question.
Rankins, great job on defense.
This is what I want to talk about, Kyle.
Bringing everybody's game up. I mean, that's what it is. And D'Amico was like, at the beginning of the year, they got to win early. And he was like, just believe we're building something here. Like, the vibe is different now. They have a living quarters now. They're just building additions on.
Kappa having nightmares.
Sheldon Rankins was open up Kansas ass whooping all day. It was insane, some of the things he was doing to Kappa. He was
nightmares.
Spinning, bull jerk, the whole thing. Every big situation, Joe's end zone pick was terrible. The pick down the seams, not good. But they don't pick that ball off if Rankin's in his face. That's the only reason that I think he throws that pick is that flash of color, where at the last second he beats Kappa. He's been doing it all game, and then the ball sails on him down the seams. Not to mention late in the game when they're down there chasing a couple scores in crunch time. I think they go up. Now the boy drop was terrible. But I think they go up if Rankins doesn't get him behind the 6 down there. So Rankins had a huge effect on this game. 3 sacks. I've always liked his game. This might be his finest work in the biggest game that he's played in his career. Not just him. Grenard bullying the shit out of that big SOB at left tackle. Buddy, Grenard's going to make himself some money this year. I mean, people come to watch Will Anderson. You stay to watch Jonathan Grenard.
And the big touchdown throw Burrow had rolling left was on a bull attempt, and Orlando sat down on the bull. He did a good job getting his hands on Grenard. Burrow getting outside and throwing a cross body to the back left. Just an awesome throw and feel.
He's still Joe Burrow.
Still an awesome throw and feel. And when I watched this matchup, like I tweeted when the Chargers were playing the Chiefs, I said it would be great if every game had a Mahomes and Herbert type talent matchup. Well, add this to the list.
Yeah.
Anybody who CJ Stroud plays that you consider to be elite, you're in for a treat every time that they play.
It was the most fun I've had watching football all year, Kyle.
1,000%.
Kevin Harlan on the call, 2 elite quarterbacks. Fuck it, we'll skip all the pleasantries. He's an elite quarterback, right? And it felt like one of those playoff games. And I don't know if you hear that noise. Do you hear that noise?
No.
It's not an Emmy. It's the Texans Super Bowl window opening. The window is ajar, dude.
I mean, they took
Maybe
the
slam
lead.
those brakes a little bit.
They took the lead on the Bengals for the playoffs, and I have the Bengals in my top 5 last week. This is a team that I'm afraid of.
I'm not saying it's going to be this year, Kyle, but all I'm saying is, with what you thought they were going to be coming into the season, Nico Collins is your guy that's balling out. You get Tank Dell, you've got Robert Woods, veteran presence. You have a good back. You're investing in the offensive line, but for much of the season, they've had a lot of those guys down. And I just, here's the thing. The run game was what was missing. And yesterday, Devin Singletary was like a revelation for them. I don't know if it was what they were doing. I don't know if Titus Howard being in at guard is a decision that they make. Pay him to come play tackle. You're like, hey, we got to get the run game going. We want our best players inside. But there was no drive that encapsulated it more than that first touchdown drive, Kyle. And when I talk about Sam Hubbard being missing, being a big deal, I talked about that in the previews. That left end position is so important. That's where all the traffic is. That's where teams are going to put a bunch of bodies. And for Lou Anarumo, this is a really gap-sound defense. So if one guy's out of the gap, if they're fucking something up a little bit, they don't make big vertical seam plays where somebody has the TFO in the backfield, that sort of thing. So whether it was bad footwork on a cutback by Sample, whether it was the end around where Osai's running around like a mad dog in a meat house, whether it's that lead at a near pistol where they're running some sort of a stunt, and this is all on one drive, where you got to depend on Miles Murphy to make plays in the run game. He's 2 gaps over. Everybody else is 1 gap over. I don't know who's fucking that up, but somebody's not right, whether they're getting the edge on Murphy, whether the edge blitz guy's getting nosy. Singletary made them pay all day. And I think that run game, if they can keep that going, makes them a complete team. We talked about the rushers, quarterbacks otherworldly. If they can run the ball, they're going to be good. And for the Bengals, it's a little bit of a troubling look into the future. And I don't mean they're going to look like this every week. Joe's going to play great even without 3 good wide receivers some weeks. But without Higgins, you can't pay everybody. We talked about coming in. You can take Chase away. You can throw bodies at him and try to then erase Boyd, who had some big drops. Those margins become slimmer when you don't have 3 wide receivers. You talk about playing San Francisco, the advantage they had. Their third guy can't cover your third guy. Well, that's a big thing because it's pretty rare to have 3 cover guys in the NFL that you feel really comfortable with to go take away receivers. So I think it's a look into the future, and I think overall – the Bengals are going to be fine, but holy shit, for a franchise in the Texans that beat them twice in the playoffs, like in the recent TJ Yates, I think beat them once, the whole thing. This could be a little rivalry if you see them again in the playoffs. I'm excited to see this game happen a couple times a year.
It felt like a challenge. It felt like in Bring It On when the Clover gals met the Oak Tree gals, and they were kind of like.
It's already been brought.
And it was already brought in yesterday when CJ Stroud
we're not
showed
coming.
up and
we're
whipped
here.
It out.
Yeah.
He whipped it out in Cincinnati in front of the Tigers. In front of the Tigers, and it was indicative of what's to come. And as for the Bengals side of things, Joe Burrow, man, it kind of worries me a little bit because he's healthy. He's making great plays like the one I just alluded to earlier, rolling left, throwing cross body. But at the same time, it's the interceptions that are untimely, they're uncharacteristic of who Joe Burrow is. He's a guy that's going to find the hands, give his guys an opportunity like he did at the end of the game, Tyler Boyd with that drop.
Because they win that game.
They win the game.
And the narrative would be so much different.
The narrative's so much different.
So
And
like
that-
if this game was against the Bills, if the Texans beat the Bills and CJ Stroud had the game that he did and Josh Allen had those turnovers, would the storyline be as much CJ Stroud and more about Josh Allen's turnovers?
Yes, it would be. It would be about Josh Allen. It would be
You know
more
what I'm saying?
about.
They'd be dogging Josh Allen. this
But
morning.
I don't. I think Joe has a better track record in not making the boneheaded plays, and I think like Josh, that's become kind of the thing. Is like this incredible talent. When he's on, there's almost nobody better than him.
But it's
but like that pick into cover 2 last week, or some of these kind of brain farty
sailing
plays.
the ball over the middle yesterday, tip drill ends up in somebody's lap.
You're talking about Joe.
These are throws that are.
But it's not he's not a repeat offender every week, and that's
But
why.
in a game where you're being challenged by a guy who's on the cusp of elite categorization,
yeah,
you would think that a guy like Joe Burrow or a guy like MJ or a guy like LeBron or a guy like Patrick Mahomes is going to say, "Not so fast, my friend."
now Patrick Mahomes has had games like this.
But you hear what I'm saying? It's
But
uncharacteristic, like I said.
How many picks does Patrick Mahomes have this year?
1 million.
Okay,
But he's going to be the first guy that I'm going to put money on in the playoffs.
and Joe the same way for me. And a lot of times when they played, it's been Burrow that's come out on top. So I'm just saying, I think he deserves a little leeway. I'm not excusing the picks yesterday, but yeah, this was. I want to
Should have won that game.
Should have. I want to see this again. I'm addicted to this game. And one thing, Nate, this is for you more than anybody, but I read this last night. One of the biggest payouts ever on U.S. soil closed on a parlay with the Amendola kick at the end of that Houston game.
Oh my God.
Florida man doing Florida man things. He won 5.5 mil,
Tax free.
5.5 mil on a 500K 4-leg parlay
Tax free.
with Hard Rock Sportsbook. I think because it's in Florida, is it tax free? I don't know. But he had Texans money line. He had Bengals Texans over 44.5. He had a Devin Singletary touchdown and Devin Singletary over 51.5 yards.
Wow.
They let this guy in the meeting.
Wow.
Like incredible. The stones on this cat. 500K.
And the Tyler Boyd drop.
Tyler Boyd drop was probably
Tyler Boyd
How,
drop.
how much did he win though?
$5.5 million.
But you got to think, yeah, that's amazing.
I had a
That's crazy.
$200 parlay paid out $2,200 yesterday. I was sending it to group text all giddy. Can you imagine?
But do you think that like that dude is breaking even with a bet like that big? You think like that's his only time?
You're
he
right.
bet that
That's a good
much?
question.
He hedged it.
He's
He's definitely netting green there.
I think he knows.
hope so.
He knew. I think he knew some. He knew some. Oh gosh! Speaking of,
Even if you know, son, still a lot of things got to go right.
and also if you're betting 500K, I don't think that's the end of the world to you.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Florida here. The Jags, the Florida men, not taking care of business yesterday, and I liked the Niners coming in. I thought they were going to look more like the Niners, especially if they got Trent and Debo back. That turned out to be true. Intermediate passing game looked like them. The run game looked like them. Defensively, Steve Wilkes, we're not going to blitz as much. I'm moving down to the sideline. Hey, from here I can see we got pretty good D linemen. You know,
Or from here, I can hear what my defensive players are saying, which
I
is
can
just
hear-
let us fucking rush.
let us rush. So he was down to 10%, which is way down from their season average. So that was good. A lot of people, like I'm on Inside the NFL, they were like, hey, you guys want a Chase Young cut up? Like, you want to do a Chase Young cut up tomorrow? I was like, no, I want to do a Sheldon Rankins cut up. You know, a lot of people are going to attribute this win to Chase Young. Chase Young's part of the win, but
How
Javon
about a
Hargrave.
George Kittle switch release in man coverage, getting the lob shot from Brock Purdy?
How about that?
You know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar back there.
How about that?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, Cash Purdy outside. And so
How about that?
how about
pocket,
that?
for real.
So yeah, no, and so I think the Niners look more like the Niners. They poured it on the whole thing, and Javon Hargrave stepped up big for them. I thought one thing that was big for them was Ambry Thomas getting more snaps, Lenore playing more nickel, and less Isaiah Oliver. That was a name that had been popping up a lot the last couple weeks. But the bottom line is, one team was sleepwalking off a bye, and one team used the bye to come in and ready to play. And
One team was charging their boombox.
yeah, one team charged the boombox, the other one, that shit was on red. And the Jags had won 5 straight. The Niners felt like the sky was falling. Purdy's under a lot of pressure figuratively, And when he was under pressure yesterday, in actuality, he was very good. Like, look at that Kittle ball in the second half to open up, to like really put the game away. He was very good against pressure. And my favorite thing he said yesterday was on the Ayuk circus touchdown. He's like, people are stroking him, and he's like, hold on a minute, playa. I'm trying to eliminate some of these throws from my game.
That was not a great throw.
And he looks sheepish about it.
Not good, Cotton.
The self-awareness on Brock Purdy to say that after the game, it's encouraging. I think if he can play like this, if they can play like this, there's a reason they're back up to the top of the Super Bowl odds. Doug off a bye in Philly, 1-4. Okay, so even as good as we were off a bye, not great. Something to look at. The Jags can't run the ball. They're busting coverages, 29 yards out the gate to Kittle. Campbell's not playing cover 3. Everybody else is playing cover 3. He's like running with the motion guy. They killed him again out of the half. Through the air and the miscues. Like, for this offense, we've said this all year, not great on third down, not great in the red zone. Kind of sounds like the Seattle Seahawks. Are they like the AFC Seattle Seahawks, where, you know, you're like, this team's a good team, but take that next step. You can't be bottom third in both, which they are. And yesterday on 3rd and 10, and you can't just waste third downs against the Niners, Kyle. They're seeing Fred Warner and these guys mugged up. They're thinking, oh, they're blitzing. They check to like what I think is a tunnel screen. Both guys tap their helmet outside. Agnew, Kirk. Okay, we're going to roll. We'll try to get underneath this blitz. Both of them go to block. There's nobody to throw to, and Trevor Lawrence gets sacked. That's the type of shit that loses you games. And I know you lost this game 34-3 in a boat race, but if you want to beat good teams, you can't waste one of these third downs. Or it's like 3rd and 4. You throw a slot fade. How about the matchup with Ridley? Doesn't even look over there. So on 3rd down, they're just not getting it done. They have 4 turnovers and 3 points. The fumble down at the goal line, Kyle. Somebody finish the fucking play, man.
Yeah.
It was emblematic of the whole day. And so you come out of the gate and you're slow to the finish.
I got a text from Tyler Campbell when I woke up. It was like 5:30 a.m. in New York, and Tyler Campbell was up. Big game day here in Jacksonville. Like, we're ready to roll.
The fans were ready.
And I was like, at 12:30, or 1:30, when it was 30-0 at that point. And I texted him. I was like, I'm really sorry about your whole parade, your party.
There's no jagging off.
Trent Williams is here. And, we talk about Trent Williams ad nauseum, and we talk about Kyle Shanahan being an innovator offensively and getting the most out of his guys and putting them in positions with the motions, with all kinds of action up front. And here's one. We've got it up on the screen here. We're going to just talk it through. It's not like I want everybody to see this play, but they take 89, Werner. They bring him from the wide left side of the field. They bring him in motion down across the field. Everything's telling you it's going to be zone right with a lead block coming from the left side with the tight end. Right before the snap, Werner puts the brakes on. He hits the reverse, and he bluffs out. Now he's going wide left. Trent Williams pushes the guy down into the line of scrimmage and climbs. What I saw yesterday was Trent Williams given the opportunity to get out ahead of plays and be the spearhead of this operation offensively. When you got 71 in space with an opportunity to get a block, you're going to get yards every time. The friggin' Niners have way too many guys on offense that they can just say, we're going to dial up a way to get him the ball, get 89, 71 in space. That was a great example of it, the touchdown to the Debo Samuel guy.
And it doesn't take away anything from this team, because most teams have a couple guys that if they're not healthy, they're not going to look the same. And so with these guys back, they look great.
McCaffrey doesn't have to score.
Yeah.
With that being said, as a team that, like, obviously you can see when they have injuries, they're not as good. Do you like the coach's decision to try to push at the end of the game to get that last touchdown with McCaffrey instead of taking your guys out?
I had the under, so no. I'm kind of like, come on, what are we doing here? And they deserve to not get in for that. But here's the thing with the Jags, man, and I think they're a good team, but they got to get those things straightened out. That situational football. They have been blown out a good bit. I mean, like, they got blown out by Houston this year. Okay, they got blown out by Detroit late last year, 40-14. That great playoff comeback, congratulations. But why are you down 27-3 at home to the Chargers? So they have this volatility about them that they're in a division that until yesterday you felt like was wide open. Okay, they have good players. Trevor Lawrence, good quarterback. But until he eliminates games like this, if you go off of Ben Solak's metrics, EPA, I know he's not the only one that uses EPA, but this is from a tweet from Ben Solak. He said this is the worst game of his career, and that includes the Urban Meyer era, and that's saying something. Now, I don't know if I go that far, but definitely a bad game from Trevor Lawrence. And, you know, when the offense isn't humming, heavy is the head that wears the crown. If you're not good on third down, we got to look at you. If you're not good in the red zone, we got to look at you. Until Trevor Lawrence does these things better, he's a good quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback.
So in summation, the Niners are who we thought they were. Brock Purdy still needs to take care of the football better, and the Jaguars. Are you guys frauds or not? What's the deal here?
What's the deal? Tell us who you are. We've got an ad read.
Yeah, this podcast is brought to you by Cash App, the all-in-one app for spending, sending, and setting easy-to-track savings goals. With multiple tools for saving, spending, and sending, Cash App is an all-in-one way to stay in control of your money. And Cash App has something very special for you. When you pay with the Cash App Visa card, you'll be automatically entered for a chance to win a 5-star VIP trip to Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. I'm going to be there for CBS. It's going to be awesome. It's like throwing a game-winning touchdown pass without having to be athletic. Tom Brady's done it a lot. The best part is the more times you pay between October 16th and November 9th, the more automatic entries you get for a chance to win. So whether you're buying yourself a lucky jersey or loading up on game day snacks, make the right play and pay with your Cash App Visa card. And who knows, you could find yourself at Super Bowl LVIII. LVIII? LVIII.
We're American. We're
That's
not Roman.
58.
That's Super Bowl 58.
Thanks to Visa, the Roman Empire fell a long time ago. We are in America, brother. No purchase necessary. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We don't do metric system either.
LVIII.
So, however you add it up, whether it's meters, yards, kilometers, the Browns had a lot of those on the ground yesterday.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So, talk about Baltimore. And at one point, it's 31-17, and I've got one eye on the game, and I'm sweating something else. And I turn to the guys, and I'm like, going to Baltimore is like being in a trash compactor. I mean, they just you see it coming, and they just slowly crush you and suffocate you. And that's what it was looking like, whether it was Detroit or Seattle or Baltimore yesterday. And for 45 minutes, they had this game in hand. Something changed, and we can get into what it was, but I think more than anything, Cleveland found an identity and an attitude yesterday that's going to suit them well. I think they came into this game as like, we're mad at the Ravens, and we want to find out if you punch them in the mouth if they're front runners.
They're mad about a lot in Cleveland. They're mad that people said their quarterback didn't want to play football. They're mad that people have plenty of things to say about their quarterback. They're mad about the opinions about their ownership. They're mad that people
the
call
marine
them
layer on that lake.
the elves. You know what I mean? Like there's a million things
always
that people
overcast.
love to hate about Cleveland, and Cleveland's taking it to heart. And
Mistake by the lake.
It seems like they just said, "Oh, Ravens, class of the NFL, fuck them."
And I understand you Cleveland fans. You've been through a lot, and I tweeted something yesterday about Seattle, and like underneath, a Cleveland fan was like, "You better give the Browns some credit." I'm like, in the Seattle tweet, like here's your credit. If you can play that way, if you have this identity,
People don't want
and
to play
Deshaun's healthy, and the key is over the course of this game, I think what they found out is like, hey, don't let the fact that we paid this guy more money than God and gave up the world to get him distract you from the fact that we are a running football team that runs through a backup running back right now who's playing pretty well.
They bend people over up front.
And that's the whole thing, Kyle, is like as the game went on, their air yards or their average depth of target rather in the first half and skewed a little bit because I think DTR took one shot. It was about 15 yards. So they're taking Walker. 15 yards down the field. That was kind of like how far they were going with the ball in the first half. And in the second half, 5.9 yards an attempt. So they decided, hey, we're a running team. Let's dink and dunk these guys. Let's take what they give us. And Deshaun went 14 of 14 in the second half, I believe. Now, here's the thing. They were down.
I think it was 14 of 14.
Yeah, they were down, like 7-0, 14, whatever it was, after the Kyle Hamilton pick, all that stuff. 31-17. There were so many deficits, and they never went away from the run game. They never flinched. They never went away from it. And they had that attitude, like I talked about, like instigating. Did you see Teller decapitate Owe?
I love his game.
And Hudson standing over him like he did it?
I love his game.
Teller's game is awesome. Nick Harris, the guy they put in at fullback, big number 53, they're trying to take Roquan's head off. Like, I don't even know if they want to gain any yardage. They were doing things all day just to get in these guys' heads. Kyle Van Noy, early play action rollout. They hit him so hard it looked personal. I think it was Cedric Tillman or somebody. He just crushed him and stood over him. And then Kyle got a penalty, so it worked. It got in his head. And I noticed something about that Lamar pick. And we talk about the Ravens in the second quarter, the way they trick games off. I talked about it last week. 7 turnovers in the second quarter, 2 in all the other ones individually. They had that back-breaking pick. They had the missed field goal, which is set up by multiple negatives on second down and all that sort of first down, second down. I don't even know what the fuck I was going to say. But the bottom line is, you were talking about their second quarter turnovers. The tricking it off in the second quarter, all that stuff. The bottom line is these guys never flinched. When they hit Lamar, this was what it was. When they hit Lamar on the sideline, that guy Ford blew up Lamar, and it was like borderline, but point taken, get out of bounds.
In this division.
Lamar comes back. Lamar comes back the next play. They're pressed up on, I think, Bateman. And I think part of why he threw that ball was to get that motherfucker that just knocked him out of bounds. And he was just going there. And I there's reason for me to believe that the Cleveland Browns were in the Ravens' heads yesterday, whether it was what they did to Kyle or what they did to Owe or what they did to Lamar on the sideline. They were going to bring the fight to them. And the Ravens just made mistakes. They made a ton of mistakes. I talked about the second quarter stuff. In the second half, they start a great big drive with an Andrews chunk for 36 to the 40. They end up punting. First play of a Cleveland drive. Matabike, by the way, should be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. Sack. Long touchdown drive. So, they just they start great, and then they couldn't finish. And
that our guy Keaton Mitchell out there again.
But not enough.
But,
you'd see
him. Get him the ball twice, he'll get 200 yards.
Beautiful. That pump draw where, the pump gets the second-level defender to go out and honor, I think it was a slant or whatever it was, and then he's out of the hole, and there's space for Keaton Mitchell. It's like, I still like this offense. I still love the Ravens.
Pump laser.
But if you want to be talked about, and last week, Kyle, I don't know if you saw our YouTube, but somebody asked me at the start of the breakdown last week, who's the best defense in the league? And for me, that's not like currently. That's who I trust the most the rest of the year. So you can throw stats at me and the whole thing. And I thought the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're very battle-tested. Mm-hmm. I think with Chris Jones and the way those backers play, if they have Bolton and Gay.
Statistically,
and those guys outside,
too. I mean,
that's
less than 21 in all the games.
Look it up right now after yesterday. How do the defenses rank? But the point was, I said Kansas City, but we wanted to give Baltimore a ton of props because they're right there. And how do you really answer that question? It's just any given Sunday. Baltimore.
If the Chiefs have Nick Bolton in their starting lineup with their players on defense, they're the best defense.
And I'm not trying to double down just to be a dick, but we were getting taken through the ringer in the comment section. People were like, "Do you even watch games?" I watch all your games. Okay, you got a really good defense. I watch all your fucking games. Okay. You got a really good defense. I said last week they have a sneaky problem where they haven't played a bunch of quarterbacks, right? The first game, you beat them 27-3. So you have to admit to me whether it's the delta between DTR and Deshaun that made things look so different yesterday or whether you just weren't ready to play. And I'd rather it be the latter because you got a big game coming up this Thursday. You get out and you coast and you say, hey, in the second half, I was thinking they were going to start packing it in a little bit, getting ready for that Thursday game. I don't know if they looked ahead and you got to run up on them, but you got to be able to stop the run, and you can't give up 30 points in a game, 31 points in a game like this. It's just if you want to be talked about as the best defense in the league, and I know these guys would tell you that at the podium internally, we got to be better than that. And so if you want to be talked about that way, there can't be aberrations like this. And it's just one game. But the defense has to step up. You lost Ronnie Stanley. And one thing, that's a big deal, the Ronnie Stanley loss.
Huge deal.
But on defense, again, back to the narrative thing. If Tyler Boyd catches that ball, we're talking about all the things we're talking about. We're not talking about the Texans the same way. If somebody falls on that ball at the end of the game, backed up, they're going to win this game. They're going to kick a field goal. OA had a great rush. So, build on that stuff. You need your rusher to win in big situations. You got that win, but it just didn't bounce your way. As a team, though, you got to play better defensively. That's a challenge you got to fucking meet against a team in division that wants to come in and run the ball, and they did.
Chiefs somehow get a win, even though they're on a bye. Like now they're looking pretty good for the #1 seed.
Yeah. What's that total defense? Where do the Chiefs?
We just had it. We just had it up. Chiefs are #1 here, and it's interesting because I often equate sacks, Chris. I often equate sacks to success, but the Ravens 39 sacks. They're in third. Niners in second. Chiefs in first. Chiefs very good against the pass. Their numbers, pass yards per game, are really good. But I mean, the Ravens, they're great against.
But the bottom, all
run.
these defenses. There's 4 defenses in the NFL.
These are the
me.
these are the defenses.
There's 4.
Right here.
There's 4 elite defenses in the NFL. It's the Chiefs, it's the Ravens, it's the Niners, it's the Browns. And the variability of the Browns is something that I scared me off of calling them the best defense in the league. I think when the Niners are humming, they're up there. If they're not blitzing, if they get this shit together, they're up there. But the Chiefs, to me, they're gamers, bro. Like
they're gamers, and they got guys who win in big situations. Chris Jones wins in big situations, in the biggest of games we've seen.
And Clowney was winning yesterday. Clowney was winning yesterday. But, like, hey, I want to see you guys abusing tackles with the game on the line, because that's what it's going to be, is like late in the season, you need your rushers to win. Cleveland, good football team. They deserve a lot of credit for falling into what I think is a really good identity for them. It just confirmed it. And then for Baltimore, you can't have that. You just can't have that. Not if you want to go where you're trying to go. You can't leak ground yardage like that.
Give it to Keaton Moore.
Keaton Mitchell or Keaton Moore. Maybe they got a Keaton Moore.
No, give it to Keaton.
Whoever.
Moore.
Oh, give it to Keaton Moore. Yeah. I'm not on a first name basis with this guy. Not yet. Okay, we talked about Pittsburgh, the AFC North. We know Cincy, they stumble. So huge win for Cleveland. Everybody lost in division but you. That's the kind of Sunday you want.
Still win.
Still love the Ravens. A week ago, we were talking about Lamar MVP. I said it. Lamar's the MVP. We're talking about Ravens defense, best in the league. None of those things played out on Sunday. So just got to be better. That's all.
Who's more valuable to their team than CJ Stroud?
Kyle, it's a great fucking question. When you look at the other guys, now Patrick Mahomes, I would make the
Trent
argument.
Williams.
Patrick Mahomes.
Trent
Williams up
But
there.
Patrick is like the obvious. We're not going to say Patrick.
Yeah. No, there's not many guys.
Trent Williams.
Not many guys are more valuable to their team.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, especially come week 17 when he comes back. By the way,
Don't start with him.
I
did good. I didn't say shit.
We just interviewed TJ Watt. Asked him about Quan Alexander. He had an Achilles. You can't count him out. He could be back wild card week.
In a
right?
fortnight.
In a fortnight. A couple fortnights. You guys.
I didn't fucking say
I know,
it.
I'm just joking. But honestly, I told you guys this. Watching our show back, I watched that show back to watch that section. We talked about Aaron Rodgers' Achilles for 6 minutes. Some of the funniest shit we've ever done.
Unironically.
You were so upset with me, Kyle. When I during the ad read was like, I made another joke about it. Your face was like, like that classic. Okay, Chris, fucker. All right, so we talked about the class of the AFC. We've talked about the AFC North. Let's talk about the NFC. The big matchup was Lions and Chargers. And
I thought you were going to say Josh Dobbs, dude.
yeah, well, we're going to get to Josh Dobbs. It's like a Linsanity situation, right?
People love.
And they should love Josh Dobbs.
They love him so much that I like him less.
meme, Linsanity time.
It's Linsanity time. What? Do you remember Linsanity? Vince McMahon.
Do you remember when Kenyon Martin got mad at Jeremy Lin for having cornrows, and he was like, "What is that tattoo on your arm?"
That was the funniest thing that Jeremy Lin ever did. And also ballsy.
That's real, right? He's like, "What's up with that tattoo, bro?"
Kenyon Martin, scary guy. Okay, so Lions, man, this game had 1,000 yards of offense basically. And
it was a track meet from the start, and I was watching it. I know you have money on the Lions, so I found out after the fact that you have money on the Lions.
More than you
But
know.
me, I'm a Justin Herbert guy, and I'm watching Justin Herbert play against this Lions offense, and they get out to that big lead, and I'm like, well, if there is a quarterback in the NFL who's going to make this competitive, it's Justin Herbert.
Yep.
We're in for a treat. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And seeing him sling the ball all over the place, David Montgomery back in that lineup is such a huge piece for their identity. I mean, we know that he hits the hole hard. We know that he can make a linebacker miss. And Chris, you and I were saying this before the show. Like, it was an example of showcasing all talents in one run on that massive explosive run. He tiptoed. He made the guy miss on a jump cut. He hit the hole hard. He pressed the linebacker.
You don't get to see this top end productivity from David Montgomery in Chicago. Like, he's in such a good situation.
First off,
no offense. I said it after the double doink game.
Shots fired.
But hold on. When I fired a shot,
I had a couple Pro Bowl running backs run behind me there.
No question. Well, you play in Chicago, so it's a fan voting.
Jordan
thing.
Howard, a lot of yards.
It's a fan
Matt
voting.
Forte,
thing.
what?
If you want to talk about that, it's a fan vote.
Matt, you heard it.
Yeah,
the fans.
Not
the
Matt,
fans.
not Matt Forte.
I'm not taking anything away from Matt.
Yeah.
I'm not, and Kyle's taken today and last year.
Jordan Howard
out of the
too.
league multiple years. Okay, well, after the double doink game, what did I say, Kyle?
We were too soft to play.
I said
Eagles.
except Kyle Long.
True, but
Okay.
I am us. We are me.
Okay, well, not anymore, Kyle. We're just breaking down the games. And what I'm telling you is, these fuckers up front are on a string together in the run game, and it is a thing of beauty to watch. And David Montgomery, that long run, not just the offensive line, the one on the sideline, Jamison Williams sprinting up. We saw it with, I think, Khalif Raymond in Tampa, where somebody, just a receiver, these guys are just supposed to want to fucking catch the ball. But that Dan Campbell rubs off on this entire team. Jamison Williams sprinting up there. He might have had that Montgomery anytime TD. Okay, but he's sprinting up there. And he's getting a big block.
You want to be in the frame, for the big plays.
For
You
real.
want to.
You want
to be that. Like, it's just like, and this play is going to get ran, and you know that everyone's going to highlight. Hey, look, I made a real good down the field block. And receivers, I feel like you said, it's coaching, like, to get guys to buy into that when you're not receiving the ball.
That's a point of emphasis in that meeting.
You get what you emphasize.
Yep.
As a coach, as a parent, as a leader. You get what you positively reinforce.
But let's
so when you know without a shadow of a doubt this morning that team's sitting there, if they don't have victory Monday, they're watching that screen, and the first thing Dan Campbell does probably is pull up Jamison Williams and say,
not the touch,
guys, this is what the fuck it takes.
Yep.
And it gives me chills thinking about a room like that that's so bought into what this man is selling. Or it's Penei Sewell out on the edge. I mean, like,
They have a bunch of guys with chips on their shoulders, dude. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, they've both been sold down the river before. These dudes are just fighting for respect.
On the opposite end, when you're going into the meeting room as a Chargers, what are you saying as a defensive coordinator watching your safety get juked and pinball into two other guys on that big run?
I mean, it's tough. And what a cut, the whole thing. But you're a defensive head coach. I've talked about this with Chargers a lot. Kellen Moore had a great day. Justin Herbert, we're not going to spend all day talking about the Chargers because they lost the game, but Justin Herbert off platform with Aiden Hutchinson chasing him late in the game. I mean, we talk about Stroud. Only a couple guys can make those throws. Justin may not have proven that he's like elite yet because of the team's record and that sort of thing, but there's not a lot of guys that can bring them back from 24-10, from 17-3, against an offense like that was never going to slow down. And in the second half, it really was, and I got to give props to Jared Goff, a situation where I worried he might turtle. Not because he's Jared Goff, but just because it is hard to every possession be like, we have to score. It's a Big 12 game from like 2003.
It felt like Oregon against USC last week, where it was like Oregon's supposed to win this game, the Lions, but like USC's got a guy who can go out there and score.
Whoever gets the stop.
So it's like, fuck.
Whoever gets that last stop. And I think if you look at the first 17 minutes of this game, I said to these guys, if they lose this game, it's like malpractice because they were dominating time of possession, yards per play. At one point, they have like 11 yards per play over like a big sample size in this game. And, being down there, getting up 10-3, they get the pick. It sets up these crazy sequences down the goal line. I felt like we had more crazy sequences on the goal line, including the Chargers getting like 8 downs on that ticky-tack foul in the end zone. But this game had everything. And right down to the 4th and 2 where Dan Campbell is being Dan Campbell. And I'm in here pleading with Dan Campbell because I got these guys -1. And I'm like, Dan, don't do it. I know you're going to do it, but please don't do it. If you don't get this, you're going to lose the game. And it was true. If they did not complete that 4th and 2 to Sam Laporta, who on our show said, I pride myself in being a security blanket with sure hands for this guy and being in the spot where I need to be. And he was exactly that. And Jared going there and just the sure-handedness. They don't even blink. And as a gambler, I don't have that in me. I forget what it's like to be a
Even
player.
fourth down decision bot didn't like it, which it almost always tells you to go.
And I think his worry was, hey, with a minute and some change left, if we kick a field goal, they could go win this game. And that leads me to my bigger point, which is, hey, a couple months ago or a month ago, I said, hey, because I hate this word, are the Lions contenders? I'm like, I'm not convinced yet. I mean, I want to see them do more. And that's a quarterback thing. It's also a team thing where you're like, Dan's putting in his program. They won some big games last year, but now you got to see them build on it. Okay, now they're the hunted, and they're going on the road to play the Chargers.
We got a target on our back.
They got a target on their back now, and
I can hear it.
This is the type of game to go in and win, however you win it, whether it's a shootout or a low-scoring game, to win on the road against a team that, quite frankly, is playoff caliber. They probably won't make it against a big-time quarterback, and to pull this thing out, that's great. But the defense has got to be better. If you want to get out on people and jump them, you can't have the last 45 minutes of that game. And
when you put them down, you got to kill them.
You got to kill them. And Dan,
and what's more Dan Campbell
than putting somebody down and killing
drag them out to the deep water where they can't swim.
Yeah, there was a riptide, and they couldn't get him out to the deep water. They just kept.
They were on a fucking sandbar. They brought him to the wrong part of the water.
You just got to bring him to the deep water, So I just. With the defense, you're going to play Philly in the playoffs. You're going to play San Francisco. You're going to play some of these high-powered offenses. It can't look like that.
The Blue Bloods.
And so that's my point is like, hey, build on something, build on. When we see an elite quarterback, if we do get a lead, how do we play this game a little bit differently? Because that was too close for comfort.
I asked TJ about the chips, the outside chips, and, it really came about from watching this Charger game, watching the chips that they were giving Sawyer. At the right tackle spot and the influenced inside rushes that he was getting. One thing that we always are told is stay inside out on these rushers. And when you get that outside chip, which I saw happen a lot for the Chargers, you're going to influence that inside rush. And you have a tendency, like TJ Watt said, one of the best pass rushers in the game. You have a tendency to overset. You're facing these speedy rushers. You want to get off the ball, get to your spot, and fight your fight against Aiden Hutchinson. Next thing you know, a receiver who hasn't been playing all week your position is trying to put every ounce of energy into hitting that guy's hip.
And not at the right time sometimes, not with the right timing.
It's just a pet peeve I wanted to get out.
No, I mean, and Hutch, man, like he's just got to keep rushing. I like I said, this year he was out to a really hot start, kind of cooled off a little bit. I think he's a really good rusher. I think he can rush inside, rush out. He's got to be. It's an unfair task to be the only guy. And I'm not saying the only guy because Aleem McNeil's a fucking beast and they have some other good players, but heavy is the head that wears the crown. Like down the stretch in some of these ball games, what you want to see is like somebody like Hutch make a big play, a turnover. When they're scoring at will, when they're catching up, the rush will take care of that. And I think the rush has just got to stand up in situations like that.
I'm over here laughing because have you guys seen the meme of Aiden Hutchinson looking like Waluigi?
Waluigi?
Waluigi.
No.
Like, the way he rushes.
That's funny. That's funny.
Pull it up. No,
I mean, pull it up.
Hutchinson, Waluigi.
I just want to say this one more thing.
Oh, my
With the
God.
game on the line, you got a minute 40 to go. Jared Goff leading that drive. The reason I brought up the contender thing, if I see him do that more, it's not like he hasn't done it before. With this team on the road against the borderline.
Oh, that's a catalyst.
Like, that's just a huge deal. And the Raymond play was huge to get him into plus territory, but it comes back to the fact that they're willing to run the ball in any fucking situation. Kendricks gets sucked up. They hit Raymond outside. They get in plus territory. I mean, you're talking about a team on 4th and fucking 5. They run the ball. And Montgomery drags people for 3 yards to pick it up. 3rd and 6, they run the ball.
They don't even blink.
They don't blink.
We're getting to that time in the NFL where the teams that can run the ball consistently, they're gonna pull these type of games out.
Al Groh came in here. Okay, my coach, Al Jeezy from college, our coach.
Yep.
Great football mind. Forgot more football than I'll ever learn. And he's like, Chris, he talks all quiet. He's like, Chris, runs plus completions. He's like, go look at that. The teams with more runs and completions are going to, and that's some old school shit, but it's true. He's like been charting it all season. And
It's
so
like the Ten Commandments. It just makes sense if you think about it. It's like, these things just kind of make sense. You know?
Yeah. Don't covet.
Yeah.
But don't tell me the running back position is dead, because these two guys make a huge difference, Gibbs and David Montgomery. It's just the running back position is dead if you don't know how to use them and you don't have the pieces around them.
If you don't
to
have
make
the
it a
pieces
centerpiece.
around you, is absolutely right. And
Yep.
I'll call on some coaching knowledge that I heard from Andy Heck. I mean, he used to say, like, we have to be the best team when everybody in the stadium knows that we're going to run the ball.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
4-minute mode.
we got to have this first down. How are we going to get it? We're going to run it. They know it. We know it. Now go execute it. The good teams, to Nate's points, the great teams, to Nate's point, run the ball when everybody in the stadium knows they're going to run it.
I want to talk about another team that wants to be great. They're very good. They're legitimately the worst nightmare of a team that's catching like 14 points. It's the Cowboys. I mean, didn't know how to handicap this game. It was one of my missteps yesterday. I said I'll take the under.
I took the under.
I thought it was going to be like 34-3. Ended up
4-minute
being
mode
like
the whole game.
Yeah, and the Cowboys ran the ball. It was too much CeeDee Lamb. Another bad team that they just beat the shit out of. And I know the Cowboys fans are say, give us more credit, but am I lying?
No, you can't give credit to a bully. They're classic bullies. Like, you know what I mean? The bully that
I think they're good. I think they're good.
I thought they netted positive in a loss last week against Philadelphia.
I thought they played well in that loss against Philadelphia. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, Dak can't win the big game, that sort of thing. Here's what Dak has to eliminate. And Dak balled in that game. Last week I said something on this show, and somebody was in my mentions right away. It was like, I go, we were talking about Dak, and I go, Dak was fine. Okay? And what I mean by that is Dak was not the reason they lost in Philly. Mm-hmm. Okay? Just for the record, I thought he played well. Yesterday, though, you got to eliminate, and I know you beat up on this team by 1,000,000 points, but it's that pick against cover 2 where he's not checking the flat defender against the out. And, you know, like, it's basic shit in a game that you got to run away with. It's just those little mistakes, you know, and I hate to nitpick. You said Joe Burrow deserves more blame when he throws 2 picks. I'm doing the opposite with Dak. But because I think Joe's proven things that Josh Allen hasn't, that Dak hasn't yet. So, you know, like for me, Dak, I just want to see, like, because that mistake is going to be a big mistake against one of these good teams. Mm-hmm. And so, like, that would be my only nitpicky thing. Otherwise, the Cowboys went out and did what they were supposed to do.
Do you think the Cowboys are similar to Miami in the sense that they're kind of front runners? They're only beating.
I think Dallas is more
Miami.
for real. Dallas is
I think
more
they're
for
better
real.
than Miami.
But
for sure.
Dallas hasn't beat any teams over 500. Or any,
I still think that they
have they not. I don't know.
Any team with winning records, all teams they've beaten have had non-winning records, I believe.
I've seen this movie for a few years. I think the big thing is, like, who are they going to be in January, and how's Dak going to play? Because everything else is like Stephen A. was on the field last year with the Eagles, or last week for the Eagles-Cowboy game, and he's meeting with Jerry Jones at the 50-yard line. He's like, you did your job. Now Dak's got to do, like, he basically what he's saying is every piece is here that you need to win with. It does come down to the quarterback, and that's what. Yeah, he was like, you know, like, I've been shitting on you for 3 years on TV, but honestly, the right pieces are in place. This is a good football team. They are contenders, but they have to show up in January, and Dak has to continue to play well and eliminate those little mistakes. Let's have a message from our sponsors. Okay, you should not have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Okay? With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes away the guesswork when it comes to buying tickets. Game Time has the deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Not a real number, but it is with Game Time. See the view from your seat before you buy, so know exactly what you expect when you arrive. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code GREENLIGHT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code GREENLIGHT, GREENLIGHT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute ticket deals, tickle deals, lowest price guaranteed. You can get a last minute deal on somebody tickling you, Kyle. Last minute. Oh, you didn't plan ahead. You can still get tickled, Kyle.
I'm gonna get you.
Everybody should have a 6'7", 300-pound brother you could tickle and push around and shit. It's a lot of fun. It's fun being the bird on the hippo.
You
in
never
my
know
family.
who you're gonna sit next to. If you go on this, and you use the green light code for $20 off, you never know who you're gonna sit next to. There's crazy people turning up doing crazy.
You never
things
know.
at all these events.
One time, my mom went to the Super Bowl and she was sitting next to John Legend. She can get her tickets on Game Time, but that could be you.
I sat next to Lauren Boebert at the movies one time.
OTP.
Case in point.
OTP. I gotta go back to Game Time.
OTP is pretty cool.
What is this? 4th grade?
I think it's just mysterious.
Conservative indeed. All right. So a liberal would be out there just.
Okay, I just wanted to scratch the
That's
surface.
freedom.
I was scratching the surface of the topic.
I'm going all in. I'm opening the zipper. Okay. All right. So it's Dobbs month.
Dobbs month.
So here's the part of the show where we talk
Astronaut.
about just the huge lump of teams that wadded up like gum in the NFC that are trying to get in the wild card game. And hey, hand up. I didn't know. A couple reasons I didn't know the Vikings were going to be this good. Number one, like the Lions win total, that's going over easy. Got a Resto Hardware Chase Lounge on that, and then got like a sectional as well on the Vikings under. But they're going to hit the over, dude.
Yep.
It's just I was wrong
in this winning streak.
I was wrong about this team. Kevin O'Connell was right about this team. Imagine that. The coach knows better than a guy with a podcast, but I just didn't see it, especially with Justin Jefferson going down and getting to the trade deadline. I thought with the way Kirk's situation is going into the next season, I think part of the confirmation bias for me was coming into the season, you look at that defense, it's Hunter, but it's a lot of unproven guys, a ton of blitzing. I didn't think the guys would be able to hold up outside. I just want to say this about the defense. 0-3 start, and this is from Kevin Seifert of ESPN. 0-3 start. Since then, the defense is fourth in points allowed, 5th in defensive efficiency, 5th in defensive EPA, 5th in takeaways, 7th in yards per game.
Damn.
Brian Flores, and I knew this because I played for Brian Flores, is not only a fucking great guy, but a great coach and a guy who should be a head coach in this league again. And he's proven that the way he's turned this defense around. And like we're going to talk about Josh Dobbs, but I wanted to give them props. I think they've been great lately. And on offense, the Ewing theory is playing out. Not that I believe it. I think Justin Jefferson needs to get back, and they're going to look really good.
So what you're saying is I'm right.
Well, you want to say what you told people?
Well, they should be knowing what I fucking said because I said Justin Jefferson should be on the trade block.
Well,
for
it's
the
too late
Minnesota
for that.
Vikings.
But around the deadline, you were saying, you're like, if I was GM, I'd get all the picks I could for Justin Jefferson.
Imagine having 3 good players instead of 1 great player.
Well, that's what Carolina thought. That's what Chicago thought. That's my point is like, draft capital is draft capital. You got this special guy here. I know that we were thinking sell at the deadline, but I'd rather do that with Hunter. I don't know. This guy is a quarterback's best friend. Now, they've been making hay with Addison and Hawkinson and all the Suns. They had a great game yesterday, the both of them. But the big thing is Josh Dobbs. And, like after that dangerous throw to Addison early that doesn't get picked, I feel like he was like, okay.
The prophecy is correct.
Okay. It was like the last game, he fumbled the ball. They almost ran it back for a touchdown. He's out there doing a bunch of dumb shit. He survived. Like he has 9 lives. And then he's out there running around like a cat, flushed 3rd and 5 to Hawkinson in the second quarter. Beautiful play. 3rd and 6 in the red zone. Alante Taylor's like, oh, fuck, I did see that highlight last week. Oh, I'm the guy in the Josh Dobbs movie. He's going to sit me down at the 3-yard line and scramble in the end zone for a touchdown. So the Dobbs magic just continues, including that throw to Hawkinson over Demario Davis's head.
Oh, man.
24,
it was like
just layering.
3 inches above his fingertips.
This guy's a good quarterback. And here's the thing about saying good quarterback, bad quarterback. You got to have a coach that can get the best out of you. And he did that a week ago with no preparation. O'Connell did it again this week with a full week. their offense really looked good. Like, it wasn't like some flash in the pan shit. It looked better than it did last week against Atlanta, in that, like, they just put together a full game plan and they whooped these guys' asses early. This did not become a game until Derek Carr got fucking leveled, and then the Jameis magic started. Me and Nate were watching that Olave touchdown in the corner of the end zone, and the red zone ball that he threw across the field.
The high point ball?
Buddy. Like, Jameis was out there like it was Florida State.
Fuck
I mean,
let me ask you this.
until the picks.
It has to be that the Saints just aren't trying to give him up, because why hasn't someone tried to grab him? Like, I feel like Jameis is probably
Inside job.
like,
Yeah, I don't know.
Jameis.
Probably.
You don't think Jameis could be doing better for the Jets right now?
Bro.
No, I mean,
Like this, there's certain teams.
You're right.
Absolutely right.
Nobody-
Do I think that Jameis and Garrett Wilson would connect for 2 tuds every game? 1,000%.
1,000%. Here's the deal, and nobody was talking about him. You make a great point. Nobody was talking about going to get Jameis Winston. Maybe they
We
thought
got
with
Cam Newton making demands on Instagram, but fucking Jameis Winston's like just sitting on the bench behind Taysom Hill.
in
and
wingdings in that font, bro.
Yeah, wingdings.
Send over a 3rd round pick
He
or
had,
else.
he had to use the King's English in order to put $8 million a year.
Yeah.
He had to switch from wingdings to go back to millions.
Pounds.
I love it though. He's sticking to it, so I love it.
No, listen, this game was almost a classic. Ultimately, it was like early in the game on one of the first downs, Metellus comes through the A gap and blows up Derek Carr, and they're off the field. And then late in the game, that fateful interception, the second to last one, Metellus up the middle, same track. Kamara just doesn't pick him up, and it's a punt. And it's the same thing at the end of the game. I don't think he needed to throw that ball, that last pick, and that's the Jameis that you're like, oh, fuck, well, that's why you're, but fair or unfair, I thought he gave them a chance to win. And for the Vikings to close another game out on defense, pretty good. I mean, and they ran the ball. They ran the ball for 125 yards. They had one read option where they got the back leading Josh Dobbs out into the flat. I mean, like, they really ran the ball. They had a good plan, and they look like a serious team.
Dobbs.
That's 6-4.
Dobbs 3 straight games with at least 1 passing and 1 rushing touchdown, including his last game with Arizona, the only players with longer streaks since 1970 merger: Justin Fields, Kyler Murray, Michael Vick. So, I mean, the things that Kevin O'Connell
There's a wide
sees,
range in there,
the thing that Kevin O'Connell sees with this guy, Josh Dobbs, is he can do a bit of everything, and when called upon to do something, he has faith that he's smart enough and good enough to get it done.
Got to be a great feeling for Dobbs, like, to jump into an organization. Obviously, the chips fell in his way right away with the guy in front of him getting hurt and them getting pushed in. But for a coach and an organization, just 2 weeks in, to be like, hey, we're kind of this is
Like,
the
he
hand we're
feels
dealt.
like he might be the guy, at least for the
Yeah.
end of the season.
This is the hand we're dealt. So, like, hey, we're going all in.
Yeah.
We're going all in and hoping the dealer bust every time. And that's what's kind of going on. And it's one of those things now, the trickle down of the team feeling like, hey, our starting quarterback is hurt with Cousins going out. But now, hey, we actually might have a guy, and our star receiver isn't back yet. Like, we might be able to do something. And when that starts to happen in the locker room, guys start to work out and more and watch tape more and do all the little things that it could be an
it
exciting
changes
season
the
for them.
whole mood in the building.
Yep.
And from going from the trade deadline where they go out and get Josh Dobbs to now, like, the mood has to be 180 degrees different from where Kirk Cousins gets hurt and you think, oh, the season's over. Mensa making 2 really good moves 2 years in a row at the deadline for Hawkinson and then for Dobbs this year. Like, they're doing the right things up there. And I got to say, like, something about being wrong. When you're wrong about a team. And some of you will be like, all right, now we're doing this, but I'm going to do this. Who do you trust more, Minnesota or Seattle?
Minnesota.
Damn.
Right? Who do you trust more, Tampa or Minnesota? Minnesota.
Minnesota, no doubt.
Who do you trust more, Atlanta and New Orleans or Minnesota?
Minnesota.
So, I mean, like, I know it's a small sample size. I know it's the Saints, who you absolutely can't trust. I don't care if the Saints are like, here, I got $1 million for you. There's a catch. Like, they just cannot be trusted. You needed 5 takeaways to beat Bajent and the Bears last week. It's the same thing this week. You didn't get the takeaways, and here we are. you get run out of the gym almost by the Minnesota Vikings, led by Josh Dobbs.
Big kudos to Josh Dobbs for taking full advantage. There's not enough guys in the league. There's a big number of guys in the league who are good players. They don't take advantage of the marketing side of the NFL. They don't get their name out there, their face, their brand out there. Josh Dobbs, whoever's in charge of his socials, they've done a great job of introducing him to people who are just scrolling Twitter and not watching the football games. I mean, he's awesome. He's on TikTok. He's making all kinds of
TikToks
highlights. People love him.
It's
People
the
love
kind of
guy.
story. It's the kind of story. Maybe they don't win a Super Bowl or anything like that, but it's the kind of story that's good for the league.
Yep.
You know, for you look at the
took over the league's headliner. Took over the Swifties. They had the Swifties up there.
He beat the Swifties.
And now they put
Josh
the
Dobbs
Packers up.
saved us from the Swifties.
Saved. Who would have thought?
I don't know.
I hate looking ahead this far,
Buzz
but I can totally
Aldrin.
see Josh Dobbs on a desk somewhere. You know, and this situation here, like
like
the
talking.
popularity that he's
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
could catapult him.
He's
Now-
gonna get paid first.
No.
Somebody's gonna pay him something.
Absolutely. And I hate to go down the road that far.
And-
He's got a long career ahead of him.
and
Roger Goodell, he's coming for your job.
President Josh Dobbs. Honestly,
and we're all
It's so funny.
hey, run Josh Dobbs out there. I'll fucking vote for him.
You can learn the system.
You can tell me I was taking votes away from the right guy, whatever. Fuck that shit. I'll vote for Josh Dobbs.
Let's go.
Y'all need a dose of reality here. I'm a rocket scientist that knows how to lead a 2-minute drive and
Jesus.
capture the hearts of 53 alpha men.
I'm rocked up for
Have
politics.
you heard him tell the story about how they told him he wasn't
Go
going
to
to
the rallies.
He wasn't going to be traded, and he just has no "woe is me" like in his tone of voice telling this story. And it's just one, like you said, like if you're not rooting for him, you probably have something off with you. Like
If
There's
you
something
thought
going
it
on
was
in
cool,
your,
it has
in your
to
life.
be. Yeah,
If you
it's-
I have the Vikings under win total. I'm rooting for the guy.
exactly.
if you thought it was cool when Obama was like saucing guys up in basketball at the White House, just wait till a fucking football game
And Josh Dobbs is just
go long.
just breaking kids' ankles on the White House lawn. They got to stop the
Stiff arming Putin.
And then even his like the way he celebrates, it's
Vlad.
like it's not too much, but it's like to show his teammates like, hey, like I'm here, guys. Like we could do this. Like I'm your guy right now, and it's from a player's like a ex-player's perspective to see you get that in 2 weeks, just outside looking in. That's special.
Bro, tell me we wouldn't win the second Cold War. Tell me. I mean, I got us minus 300 with Josh Dobbs as commander-in-chief. Like, fuck, he would do things with our Space Force.
Yeah.
Out of
Space
control.
Force.
You'd have a hell of
Shout out to
security
Space
detail.
Force.
Wait, what the hell is in season Hard Knocks doing? Because they need to be just
Right.
following. They just need to be following Dobbs at this point now. In season Hard Knocks,
Bro,
that's it. They just
Netflix quarterback, biggest losers, Netflix quarterback show if they didn't have Josh Dobbs. Next year they'll put Josh Dobbs on and it probably comes back down to earth, you know? All right, so anyways, the other team we got to talk about is the Seattle Seahawks. Gutsy win, survived, low-scoring game. You know, I thought Sam Howell played really well. He did some really good things, but I don't know what it is about Geno where he's got to have his back against the wall because in these late-game situations, game-winning drives, game-tying drives, he's been really good, even with the problems that they've had in the red zone on third down. So I got to give Geno his props. Again, they're kind of in this situation for me where I kind of look at them like Jacksonville where, okay, you're making noise. You might be up in your division or tied or whatever, but you got to fix some things before I take you like really seriously. And that's where I think Seattle is. But this was a big game because Leonard Williams got his first sack on an inside move. Beautiful. Maffei's got 7 straight games with a sack. He won on a game. Lockett, the go-ahead pylon TD. Like, that's what you need in November. You need your best players to make one play. Like, look at the game and say, did our best players make a play? Kenneth Walker taking it to the house. That's a play. That's making a play. That play's not drawn up to go 64 yards. Somebody made a play. So whether it's Lockett, as he does, automatic at the pylon to go
He
ahead.
is so underappreciated.
Witherspoon ripping the ball out. Like, whoever it was, somebody made a play in this game. So it might not have been the most sexy win. It might be something where Seattle fans go back to their computers and their Starbucks and they say, like, it's fucking tiresome to be a Seattle fan. You never know what you're going to get week to week. But while you figure all this other stuff out, as long as these guys are making plays, you're going to be in it. I thought this was a big test for the Commanders and for Sam Howell. And honestly, he passed it. They didn't get the win, but they were right there. Another notch in his belt, not a win, but one where his teammates are like, we went to Seattle and went toe-to-toe with the Seahawks, and that guy didn't flinch, and he made some big throws. So I got to tip my cap to Sam Howell, a guy that last week, one of your defensive alphas, like, we found our quarterback for the next, few years or whatever. Whether that's true or not, Josh Harris probably has something to say about that, but it feels good internally to go there and play these guys tough. Seattle, though, big win.
Heartbreaking loss to the Seattle
Dude,
Seahawks.
I just pulled it up. I was going to read it.
Heartbreaking loss to the Seattle Seahawks today. Defensively, we couldn't come up with the big play to stop Seattle during their last 2 drives. Irvin Magic Johnson.
No way.
Every game he's got a tweet.
We need to
Come on the show, Magic.
Here's my goal for the live show. Can we get Magic Johnson?
I would love it.
If we can get Magic Johnson, this show goes to the next level.
See what I can do.
They're going to be like, who's Connor Orr? We got Dr. Fax here. Who's AJ Hawk?
Johnson,
I got Kyle Long here. No, I think McAfee's great. But if we got Magic Johnson, look out, Pat.
AJ Hawk. AJ Hawk.
You can get all the guys you want on there. You get Lombardi
That's a
on there,
face.
some great former coaches. But if we get Magic Johnson, we're going to have these games broke down because he knows what's happening.
Magic was definitely a Howie Long fan for sure.
For sure. Macon took a piss next to him at a basketball game once. And I was kind of worried about what was said and what wasn't said because you know how he is.
Yeah.
But evidently it went well.
I would imagine that Howie and Magic probably had some. There was a Venn diagram of athletes in Los Angeles.
No,
and
he went
had
to
some
Lakers.
intersection.
He knew Magic Johnson. He knew Magic Johnson because
Intersection, not sex.
Yeah, he went to damn the Staples Center or whatever it was, the Forum.
Forum.
Back when his boy Frank Brakowski played for the Lakers.
Bro, I'm so upset that show ended the way it did, and they're not like
Winning time.
Yes,
I haven't seen the whole thing.
Oh man, it's great, and that's you didn't see it, but that's why I was geeking out. The actor that played Magic Johnson's father was at the event down in Durham that we went to.
Yeah, okay.
He was the actor from that show, the dad, Magic
Right.
Johnson's dad. He was there.
We were among the stars.
Yeah. So
That's so
on
funny.
Boomers, I was very, very excited to see him because I'm like, yo, I just watched the series.
Yeah.
And he was just like a cool cat, kind of like you don't want to run up on him like when he's chilling.
Yeah.
And that's the mode he was in. So like I had to really, really
Fanboying on mushrooms, that's a tightrope.
It is.
You
It
know?
is. It is.
Oh my God, that's art. Winning time is art.
Let me touch your face.
So, anyways, Cardinals Falcons. I'm not going to say much about this game other than because I got to admit this is a game I haven't watched the All 22 yet on. So maybe you can tell me in the comments what the fuck happened, Falcons. I know what happened down the stretch. Heineke gets hurt. We see Desmond Ridder again. That sneak, okay, I had the over, and it was like, just kick the field goal. I had it at 41. They're down there 4th and 1. Ridder does this like side sneak thing and falls on his face. He falls on his face. Now, luckily, props to him. Possible game-winning drive where he actually gets to the pylon without fumbling the ball.
Screwed it up the previous 2 times he tried it.
Okay, I don't want to make it too negative about Ridder because, talk about narratives. If Kyler Murray, if he doesn't think it's double XP day, because that's what I think he thought it was, he goes down the field, hasn't played football in a year, and this is the problem right now with the Falcons to me. You're not good enough offensively not to be really sound defensively. And in a 2-week span, you give up a game-winning drive to a guy that's literally staying at the Holiday Inn Express, like just got in town, hasn't unpacked his bags, goes down the field and beats you. Then the very next week, you give up a game-winning drive to a guy who hasn't played football in a calendar year. That's bad. Like, that's bad ball. And so for all the stuff you want to say about the quarterback position, the offense, the defense has to be better in these situations. And for all the veteran pieces they added, like, I know these guys are in the meeting room today being like, we cannot do this. Everybody knows this. And 2 weeks in a row, they got their backs broken on game-winning drives to guys that you would not expect would do that.
I'm going to cape for Atlanta a little bit and just say, isn't it hard to mimic a guy like Kyler Murray? You know, every team you might have a guy that can
Scout team?
Yes, like that's what I'm saying. Like on scout team, like when
Because
you're
there's a
getting
guy
ready,
that dresses like him.
yeah, like it's never the same. And like Kyler Murray, he made like some of those plays where it's like Madden-esque, and it's just like, you're trying to get this guy down, and he reverses, and he goes back 15 yards negative of the line of scrimmage, but still finds a way to roll out, find an open guy, or rush for 10, 15 yards on really, he's running probably like 80 yards in the play.
And you got no tape on him, the whole thing. I get it. But, like, for the Cardinals, my question would be, how many of these things do you plan on winning?
Yeah.
Oh, because is that another team with the under total?
Well, no, I did put some, like,
They were supposed to be tanking.
I did put this long odds bet on them, like, to win less than 2.5 games. That's not going to hit, but it wasn't like a lot.
Okay.
So, but 2-8, okay. If Kyler's the quarterback, this team's proven that they can play with people.
Yeah.
He can be the difference. They might win 4 games. Then the draft is going to be a thing. I mean, you're going to be, I don't know what the draft order is right now, but they're going to be creeping down that board if they win a couple of these games. And there's other teams like the Patriots that look like they're going in the opposite direction. So
does the winner of the NFC South even matter at this point? Like, it's going to be Saints, Falcons, or Bucks? Like, aren't they all just going to lose to Dallas at home?
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? You know, it's like when I hate to say this, but you weren't on the team, I don't think. When the Bears went to the Saints for the Nickelodeon game. You were just like, yeah, it's not going to happen.
When Mitch won the MVP.
Yeah. The MVP. You know, it's one of these wild card teams that they could slide in. Somebody from the NFC South could slide in. But they're not going to win a game, maybe. I don't know. And you make a good point. It's like we're going to pay attention to this thing. They're not going to be 2 teams in from this division if they're playing the way they're playing. And the winner, it's like who doesn't.
The winner
Everybody's
wins.
Begging the other team to take a lead in this division, and nobody can take advantage of it. So
Cardinals win further solidifies Chicago's place in the draft order as well. I mean,
no question.
Go Cards on Kyler.
On Kyler. And then Tennessee, Tampa's the last one. Tampa just hanging around, man. Tampa's hanging around. We said coming in, whose matchups do you like outside better? I thought this might be a Tampa spot because of that. And Mike Evans, turned out he did enough. And, you know, like Will Levis, we talked about, listen, he won, he beat the he beat the Falcons, okay? But to have a full week where you know you're going to play a bunch of snaps and come into the game against the Steelers, I thought he played well there. Couldn't come up with the win. He's still searching for that first, like, hey, I'm the guy. I'm coming into the game, and I'm the head honcho, and I'm gonna.
Tough spot to play in.
It's
Tampa.
a tough spot
against that linebacker core. A lot of the looks get muddied up from what you talk about replicating what Kyler Murray does in practice throughout the course of the week. It's tough to scout team 2 elite linebackers. It's tough to have guys read and react the way that these linebackers are going to do it. We've seen stuff on film, Nolan, and we say, watch the run through, or when he's here, he's going to get to there, but you can't replicate game speed.
He hasn't seen that much blitz. I mean, he hasn't seen that much.
56.8% yesterday.
56% of the
and that
time.
ain't normal blitz. That's
not even
real
normal
deal
for Todd
Holyfield
Bowles.
pressure.
That's like when Greg Williams used to get mad. He was like, fuck it. We had this one all-out blitz play. He was like, I'm mad. We're just going to run.
Kitchen sink.
Yeah, Todd Bowles is throwing the kitchen sink at you. And so this is a good learning experience for Will Levis, the tail end of the season. There's always an implicit kind of like audition going on.
Oh, yeah.
When you're not like a top 5 guy as a quarterback. I think they feel like they found their guy, but he's going to have to win some of these games. And on the road, like, the Titans haven't won in a while on the road. So this is a problem for this team. Titans have low-key taken a huge step back. We kind of were onto that before the season. I don't think anybody expected Houston to be this good. But the AFC South...
Hell no.
The AFC South is just, it's upside down. Titans, you could bank on them having a high floor every season.
Houston is straight tipping right now.
They are tipping.
Tipping
on
on
foes.
foes.
No, they're tipping on 5 and foe.
Tipping on 5 and foes.
Whatever they are. So, not a lot to say about Tampa Bay.
Knocking on
That's one of the
playoffs
uglies.
door.
Last game we'll talk about, Indy and New England. I love waking up in the morning and watching football over in Germany or London. It really is great.
That's the one I
9-8.
didn't watch. It was during our show.
Kyle,
I heard Mac Jones got benched. I saw Mac Jones get yelled at by Bill O'Brien.
and that was it, Kyle. When he threw that pick in the end zone, that was it. I mean, it was like,
Bill was like, I'm sick of this shit.
where are you going?
I'm sick of it.
Because they came out in the second half, and like people want to get mad at Bill. Okay, like he might get canned if they lose this game. Well, I haven't heard anything yet. I think
they're not doing it middle of the season.
They're not gonna do it in the middle of the season. I don't think so.
Especially for him.
Not for him.
You don't whack the
You wouldn't
Don.
think.
And Teddy Bruschi went on NFL Live and was like, you can't do that.
I don't think you can. But
Who cares what Teddy Bruschi thinks?
well,
I'm sure that a lot
I think
of
it's more like
fans,
what
but,
I think it's more who cares what Teddy Bruschi knows. I don't think he's saying that without knowing that like the way things work up there. Now he could be wrong, and you could get a victory lap because they could fire him on Wednesday, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Will they let him ride the duck boat one more time?
That'd be sick, just
Who
with
cares
nobody out in the
Like
street.
okay, let me set the scene. Plane lands from Europe. They go to the facility. All the players' cars are on. The lights are on. The heat's on for the players, and then they have a duck boat
Yeah.
pulled up, and they're like, "Bill,
One more ride.
this way." And
more
Bill
ride.
just looks at him. He's like, I understand.
It's 3 a.m. You know, nobody's on
Takes
the
his
street.
shirt off.
Yeah,
He
he's
gets
got his shirt off. Like, oh, it was you. But here's
Great pecs.
here's what I'm gonna say.
Great pecs.
They didn't lose that game because of Bill. They didn't lose that game because of Bill. They lost that game because of the quarterback. Okay, like you got nobody outside to throw to, which partially is Bill's fault, right? Like the personnel, we talked about that. He can't be a GM at the next stop. But in the second half, they came out and they ran the fuck out of the football. Like they got back to doing what they do, and Stevenson was going off, and they just couldn't finish drives because of the quarterback. And so then you put Bailey Zappi in, and you get the fake spike, which who knows what the fuck they were thinking there.
When's
And
the
then
last time we seen that?
What was that? Who was it? Who was it?
Peyton tried it with the Colts.
There was somebody before him that
Yeah.
did it that was like clean. It was so clean.
Well, I don't hate the idea, but then don't force the ball over the middle of the field. You know, just burn it over somebody's head out of bounds. And so
They asked him about it, and he said, "I
don't
can't
wanna
say what I want to say."
But
And
what
then-
does
and
that
then
mean?
So here's what I think it means. I think he wanted to say it was fucking stupid.
Yeah, I think he was-
I don't think
or
he
maybe
was.
somebody ran the wrong route.
I
or-
don't think. Yeah, I mean,
But he didn't like the idea. He didn't like the idea. And
could have taken it both.
and listen, yeah, it probably wasn't a game they were going to win in that
Marino.
scenario, but
Marino.
I do think it's got to be the last we see of Mac. I mean, I've done this before. I don't think Zappi's much better, but like this is something for Bill where I think Bill last year wanted to move on from Mac, and the people upstairs like Robert and the rest of the organization was like, no, we got to give him a chance. I don't know if I had that backwards, but I think Bill has been wanting to make this Zappi move, and they've made the move. I think you got to roll with him the rest of the season. I really
I got to
do.
give him the Adam Shine. Mac Jones, bag it, loser.
Bag it, loser. Now, I don't want to be all mean to Mac Jones.
But that's what they say in
Yeah.
Boston, right?
Yeah, bag it, loser.
Loser.
And ship him off to Boston.
Drop kick
Murphy's
Murphy.
drop kick Mac Jones into the fucking I don't know. But anyways,
If his last name was Mick Jones, they would love him.
the Mick Jones.
David.
We're
Mick
Irish,
Jones.
by the way. He can make that joke. But the bottom line is,
Yeah, come get me.
it can't be. Yeah, right. It can't be. It can't be Mac Jones the rest of the way. And
No.
I don't think Bill was the reason they lost that game. You can say what you want about Bill. I'm just going to say this every time we talk about the Pats. If he wants to keep coaching, somebody should hire him to keep coaching because I think he can still coach.
The Bears?
It's just such a fucked up situation.
The Bears?
The Giants.
Oh, it could get so much uglier before it gets pretty for Bill.
I know. You got to have a strong GM, and he is not one right now. So let's get to our Miller Lite moments.
Love these.
But before we get there, I wanna read an ad. Whatever you're looking forward to this football season, there's one thing that pairs well with every great moment: an ice cold Miller Lite. Whether you're at the stadium playing fantasy football or watching the game at home or the bar, Miller Lite is here to make your football season taste like Miller time. No matter what team you're rooting for, there's one thing we can all agree on. Football brings us together. A connection like that deserves to be celebrated, and Miller Lite wants you to celebrate with me during the NFL Conference Championships in January. Any takers? Right now, Miller Lite is giving you the chance to win a trip for two to come hang out in the Green Light studio. You'll fly out to Charlottesville, Virginia, and tune into the NFL Conference Championships with me and the Green Light crew. You will get an opportunity to slap Kyle as hard as you can, and he can't do anything back to you. Like John Henderson for the Jaguars will do that. Then you'll sit on a live Green Light podcast session Just go to MillerLite.com/greenlightsweeps to enter, and this is all delivered by Miller Lite because when football's on, it's always Miller time. From kickoff till the final whistle, you can't go wrong with Miller Lite in your hand. Celebrate Miller time with the Green Light Podcast. Go to MillerLite.com/greenlightsweeps to enter for your chance to win. We'll read this.
No purchase necessary. Starts 11/6/23 and ends 12/4/23 at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. Must be a legal resident of 50 U.S. states or D.C., 21 years of age or older. Void where prohibited. See official rules at www.millerlight.com/greenlightsweeps for entry instructions, odds, prizes, and restrictions.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Hey, I love.
He's red.
You know what's gonna be funny?
He's mad because I took his spot.
When one of those guys,
when
one of those guys from the power slap competition wins the contest. Now that Chris said that.
Oh, that's not real. Okay, that thing's not real. You don't want to do that.
I will play if I survive the opening round. If you get the kickoff and I survive, everybody's in trouble.
Everybody's gonna die. Dude.
I love that competition though. The one guy's like, "Open your eyes, John! Yeah. Open your eyes!" Bang!
Dog, there's like these guys are out there getting CTE for nothing.
And the two guys catch him.
The paychecks can't be great.
The two guys catch him.
Yeah, they got like get up guys, not get back guys. It's a fucked up sport. It's gonna last like 3 years. Somebody's gonna die, and they're gonna be like, "We have to have a conversation."
Hey, commercial.
You think? I mean, it's. I don't know.
You think the sport's a good sport?
No. That someone would like get that much hurt than like something like an MMA fight.
I don't know. If we have somebody in the studio and they slap Kyle first and he survives, I think there will be a fatality. So, anyways,
I might bend the rules on the game.
Let's get to Miller Lite moments. I always start with worst flight. For me, it's the Jets. I talked about last night like a possible mutiny. You play a Sunday night game in Vegas, then you got to get on a plane to go back to New York. I think they might have just landed. I mean, that's how it feels to me, knowing how that goes. And the way that room is probably divided right now, it's hard to keep that team together. I think that's a terrible flight. Just an awful flight.
Worst flight's got to be the Patriots, right? I mean, I didn't watch their game, but it's what I've heard about. Patriots, worst flight coming back from Europe.
Jack Jones waved. Jack Jones waved.
Wow.
Yeah, not like, hi, how you doing? Like, see you later.
He didn't wave. This isn't Facebook Messenger.
No,
And for best flight, I'll go Chase Young and the 49ers.
Yeah, that's a long one, though, Kyle. I don't like taking long-ass flights like that.
Yeah, but you're going back west,
How about
baby?
Houston? You get on that plane.
That's huge.
Like, this is one of those memories for a team. I've been on teams that were trying to get over the hump. When you feel like you're over the hump for the first time, it's like a drug. Like, you get on the plane, and you're so together. You're like, where are we going next? Fly us anywhere. I'll take this team and beat anybody. And I feel like they had to have that feeling getting on the plane yesterday. And not a long flight, Cincinnati, Houston. Longer than you think. Houston's way down there. But not the worst flight.
It's like Central America almost.
Yeah, it's almost like that. It's almost on the Yucatan.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to give an alternate worst flight to the gal who had to sit next to me on the plane ride home from New York yesterday. I fell asleep when we were still like on the, in the
Tarmac?
The jetway.
Yeah.
Like we just boarded and I passed out and I woke up during takeoff to me snoring.
Oh, no.
So I imagine.
Oh, no. Not as bad as the lady. I'll give a worst flight to piggyback off of y'all. When I was in Tanzania last year, I was on my way back, and I took like a big edible. I think I told you this, and didn't realize I probably lost like 20 pounds on that hike. Empty stomach, and I was like Mr. Krabs in first class on the way home, and we're going over the Atlantic Ocean. I'm freaking out, so I start drinking, and I lay down. I got like half a glass of scotch. Got this European-looking lady next to me, real like stiff.
European.
Like she doesn't like me. You could tell. I woke up and startled and knocked my scotch over. It spilled all over this lady, dude. God. And I had to wake her.
That's awful.
I had to wake her up in the middle of the night and be like, spilled my scotch on you. I had to decide whether
you were in international waters. That's not a crime.
No, you're right. She was gonna wake up and get her bags and be like, "Why do I smell like fucking Johnny Walker?"
And you're just keeping it like this in the other seat.
It was that dumb American next to me. So, yeah, I'll go Bevel Conway. Kyle?
Yeah, we got Bevel Conway.
Go ahead. What you got?
I got Travis Kelce standing side stage in Argentina, not only standing next to Taylor Swift's dad during the remixed rendition of Karma. This is love. This is real. I haven't talked about it because I didn't know what the deal was with it. if this was a media play or if it's real, organic, and it's the bye week and it's a 16-hour flight and you're going to Argentina to go see your girlfriend perform. She's the biggest star in the universe. You're one of the best players to ever do it, and you're down there hanging out. So my Bevel Conway is Travis Kelce, side stage on a bye week in Argentina watching his girlfriend Taylor Swift perform. I think it's beautiful. I think it's the real deal.
It melts my heart.
And I haven't talked about it, but I'm talking about it today.
It's a lot easier to consume now that we've gotten over the initial rush of everything being Taylor Swift. But I think there's love there, Kyle. And I would say there were a couple games here that were beautiful to look at. New York and the Raiders, because I love a rock fight, but those old school colors like that green and that black and the silver, it was perfect. Detroit and LA looked really good.
Pretty.
I mean, it did look a lot better than
on the eyes
than the Lions in those fucking cinder block uniforms. And then the other one that I'd say, because we had Packers Steelers yesterday.
Yep, that looked good.
San Francisco and the Jags looked really cool to me. It was a terrible ball game, but those San Francisco road whites are gorgeous, especially when it's like overcast or it's at night, and like the color
contrast.
The Jags in them. What's
Can I give
next?
one?
How about a hollow, man?
Go ahead.
I was gonna give a bevel to your dad and the Fox crew. Their setup this past weekend was pretty awesome.
At the Air Force Academy,
Force
Colorado
Academy.
Springs,
Yep.
their Veterans Day show. Shout out to Fox, NFL Sunday.
It was a pretty nice backdrop.
Hollow Man, I think I want to give it to. We'll try this ad man, Kyle. Okay. DoorDash, Desmond Ritter. He's got a big order. He's like, if you don't fucking deliver these wings, everybody's gonna go Grubhub. He gets the wings. He's running up to the door and he just falls on his face on 4th and 1. Okay, I think Desmond Ritter is the hollow man yesterday to come in the game and to just trip and fall. Now I could easily pick out Trevor Lawrence for not playing well. I could pick out Tyler Boyd,
who had a good game.
but I'll give it to the whole group. I don't think there was any one guy that stood out yesterday as being but maybe DoorDash Desmond Ritter. 3 stars. All my wings were on the fucking front porch.
Hollow Man, second half, Baltimore Ravens with a lead. How about the Ravens with a lead?
Yeah, Ravens with a lead. And that's 3 games now that the Ravens have lost when they had a lead and they couldn't put teams away, whether it's the Colts, the Steelers, or the and the problem is these are all AFC teams. They're all teams that the Steelers couldn't run the ball, but they're physical teams. And they're teams that you got to see teams like that down the stretch.
The Ravens have only trailed for 28 minutes all season, which is 3rd all time in history.
But they've
through
lost
10
those 3 games.
But they've lost 3. Every other team on the list is 10-0.
Not good.
And in that game, the Browns trailed for 59 minutes and 20 seconds. To Matt's
Crazy.
point.
And the other teams on that list, the 84 Dolphins, the 2002 New England Patriots, or 2007 New England Patriots, the 98 Broncos, the 90 Giants, these are historically good teams. All the teams that are on the list with the Ravens were 10-0 at this point. So first 10 games of the season, least time trailing. Ravens are on that list, but they're 7-3.
Okay, what's next?
STL
Memorial Award. Sheldon Rankins. I got people calling me, at my workplace saying, hey, we got to break down Chase Young. No, I want to break down Sheldon Rankins.
Yep.
Nobody's going to talk about Sheldon Rankins because it's like the meme with the guy and the girl and they're walking and the guy's checking somebody else out. That's me with Sheldon Rankins. CJ Stroud's over here. I wanted this 3 technique. He was dominant. So I know some people have heard about the performance he had yesterday, but I want to shout him out another time because that was an ass kicking he gave those guys and John Grenard and the guys up and down that line.
And I'll go with another Houston Texan. I'll go with Noah Brown. 7 receptions on 8 targets for 172 yards, no tuds. But you want to talk about the middle 80 of the field? That guy dominated it all day. And then when they needed it, they got Tank Dell the ball and he extended for a touchdown. Texans are fun. STL Memorial, Noah Brown.
By the way, the Tank Dell hit, Dax Hill put on Tank Dell.
On the touchdown?
No, over the middle earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Buddy, I thought he was dead. I mean, that kid, to get up off the mat and keep making big plays like that, that team's got something to him.
Including a huge tackle, maybe a game-saving tackle.
No
on the
question.
interception.
Yeah, no question.
How about best seat?
Best seat for me, probably the whole Fox crew when Gronk, basically what happened this week is they went out to the Air Force Academy. They met all these veterans, and the veterans were like, you can't keep doing these USAA commercials, Gronk, and say, like, when do I get a USAA card? Well, you actually have to be in the military, and so we're going to make you feel like you're in the military for a second. We're going to drop you out of this plane from like 30,000 feet up. I don't know where you skydive from, probably more like 10. But he kind of shit his pants. You could tell, like, he wasn't ready to go. And from what I heard, the guy had to be like, Gronk, we're going.
Yeah.
And then they jumped out of that motherfucker, and all the Fox guys got to watch Gronk. They were like, Gronk's going to be landing right here. Oh, my God. Also, how sure that they are that they're good at that they weren't going to get like a terminal velocity Gronk hitting the ground and like a death on live TV. Jeez, like that's how good the Air Force guys are at jumping out of an airplane that they were like, this isn't going to go wrong. Let's have 50 million people watch this thing live.
Yeah, Dad ziplined too.
Dad
got the zipline. I was talking to him. He was like, "Yeah, it was
crazy.
fun." And I told Strahan, just look at the mountains. Don't look down.
Okay. What would it take? What would it take, Chris, to get you to jump out of the airplane?
My kid's graduating college.
You would have to show me a hippo using the parachute that I'm using.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Drop, pop.
I think
Good.
I think you're thinking of Operation Dumbo Drop.
I mean, but I want a hippo.
You just want any pachyderm. I need to see a pachyderm.
Pachyderm.
Yeah, which is spelled
Small
funny.
ears.
So, anyways,
Unless
I think
you're talking elephants.
Gronk jumping out of an airplane. I used to want to do it, but then when your kid's like, now you're a dad, like you're like, can you imagine if somebody was like, hey, where's your dad? Oh, he died skydiving.
I can't.
For no reason.
Yeah.
So unless I'm like
Hang
Gronk and
gliding.
I'm at the Air Force Academy and they do this, I don't think I'm gonna do it.
Hang gliding.
Fly on the wall. We have best seat.
I got to go best seat.
Yeah, go ahead.
The DeVito family.
Yeah,
Come on,
DeVito
dude.
family.
Simple as that.
Best seat in the house. Me, when I figured out that this is a seatbelt strap that these
know
guys
that?
have been doing.
They didn't know
Kyle,
that yesterday.
I thought they were putting a sword in a fucking sheath or something. I'm thinking medieval times.
So earlier this year, George Kittle, there was a ball thrown to George Kittle. It sailed
Was
wide.
he the first one to do it?
No, he's not the first one to do it.
Oh.
So the DBs, when they strap somebody up, you're strapped in. So George Kittle broke up a bad Brock Purdy pass early in the year.
And he did it.
He played DB, and then he did the celebration, which I thought was really cool.
I felt like the biggest middle-aged dad where I was like, yeah, put that sword away. And Nate's like, it's a seatbelt.
Put that sword away.
God, Travarius Ward he loves sword fighting. The guy loves Puss in Boots
That's
and
hilarious.
fucking Princess
Puss in
Bride
Boots.
and the fucking, I don't know.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. But no, he's just into the seatbelt strapping thing. I wasn't the only one on the set that thought it was like a sword or something. Hey, funny comment from the chat here. Who do you think wins, eugenics Frank Thomas or terminal velocity Gronk?
Dude, I think terminal velocity Gronk is the tough
Tough SOB.
battle. Yeah.
Tough SOB. Eugenics, not eugenics. Nugenics can only do so much. See, I made the same mistake you made. Nugenics can only do so much. Terminal velocity
I
Gronk.
saw Frank Thomas on social the other day. I'm going to keep it to myself
Yeah,
here,
keep
but
it to
I
yourself.
laugh so hard.
Yeah,
Frank
okay.
Thomas makes me laugh.
Bill Belichick needs to get a new eugenics show.
I feel like Frank Thomas and Bill
he might
Belichick
be
would
on
be
it.
boys.
Yeah, no,
they
that's
would.
what I mean.
Like, they would be boys.
No, I mean, he needs a deal.
He
Like,
needs
that's-
a deal
that's what I'm
because of
saying.
what he did
he looks
walking
like
out
it.
on that porch.
Yo,
Who would be the third party? Like, if they're going to dinner, it's Bill, it's Frank, it's Nugenics Frank Thomas, ring cam Bill Belichick, and
Inoperable key
motorcycle
Ryan
Louisville
Russillo.
coach. Motorcycle coach.
Maybe,
from
yeah,
Louisville.
the guy from Louisville.
with the neck brace.
Yeah,
Bobby Petrino.
Bobby Petrino. I was just out for a Sunday drive. Then they find out he's got a blonde on the back. And he ate all the road rash. He ate all the road rash.
He's got teeth marks in the back of his head.
Speaking of ad, man, I did an ad one time for Bobby Petrino for helmets. Because
Shoo.
look at Bobby Petrino's face, man. He looks like Freddy Krueger.
Stop.
And he was just out for a joyride, dude.
Stop.
Pizza face Petrino.
Ugh.
Couldn't eat
He's
pizza
just
for a
thinking
week.
with his dick.
One time, Al Groh got
like that
decked
song?
in the middle third. Coach Groh used to he used to stand back there in the middle third and watch every player. He used to do this because he could download every player on the and he would go set hut and he'd go
scan the field and know everything.
and then he'd be like he'd know exactly who got beat, everything. Well, he was scanning the field and they threw the ball deep and
Deion
ran this
Williams.
motherfucker over. The front of his head hit the field turf and went like this, like all the way to the back. And he's so tough, he just stayed in. He had like Bobby Petrino road rash. We come to the next team meeting, we're like, what's he going to do with his head? Is he going to wear a hat? Because that's not the type of guy he is. He wants to show you. He just rubbed a bunch of Vaseline on that
He
shit.
had a shiny head.
And it was just a shiny Bobby Petrino situation.
Oh.
But obviously, he was just coaching ball. Bobby was out doing sinning. All right. What else do we got here?
Fly on the wall.
Fly on the wall.
I got one.
I thought I just gave that out. Fly on the wall was me when I realized that wasn't the seatbelt.
Yeah, I didn't get to do fly on the wall.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my fly on the wall, what you alluded to earlier, was the Texans fan. I don't know if he was a Texan, the Florida man who bet on the Texans, and he won $5.5 million on the parlay that we talked about earlier with Singletary touchdown, Singletary over on the points, and money line Texans.
That guy got the script.
I don't think human beings have evolved to receive that much dopamine as that guy probably like cavemen never felt something like that, dude. To win I guess killing like a big
bear.
mastodon
That's what I was about to say. You
or
kill a
something.
bear or
It feels like
something.
winning a parlay for $5.5 million. You're gonna eat all.
Imagine the buildup chasing a wild animal like
I
that.
think
in the day.
parlays seem a lot more fun.
Fly.
Really?
Yeah, because there's a chance
You can't eat a parlay.
that you can't eat a parlay, but but a parlay can't kill you. Think about that. Fuck your life up.
Yeah.
Hey, thinking about
Okay.
it.
Fly on the wall for me is in the car with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Yo, pass
Aaron-
the Dutchie to the left.
Aaron Rodgers landing in Vegas and hitting his old teammate up. I just wonder what they did. And Vegas has dope.
They went to
dope
MedMen.
marijuana. No, they probably went to Planet 13.
Somebody went
Planet
for them.
13's crazy.
Worst weed person trap you can actually go into if you're in Vegas. Their weed is so expensive.
Yeah.
And it's more just going in there and
Take
hearing
my money.
this is the biggest dispensary in the world, and you just
I have
my
thoughts.
money.
I have thoughts on this. Okay, I'm going to change my fly on the wall, or I'm going to change I'm going to give another fly on the wall. It's Antonio Pierce when he realizes that his best player is hanging out with the number one instructor from the opposing team the night before the game.
I think he trusts Devontae enough to not give him anything.
He's an ex-player.
He's
you
an
understand
ex-player. I
that.
think a coach might be pissed about that.
Yeah.
But like,
I'd also be like, go hang out with your buddy, but none of that fuck shit.
yeah. Well, one time you and I hung out the night before game with. I came by and saw you at the hotel and Josh McCown and stuff. And then the next day we were trying to kill Josh McCown.
But
That's
how
just the
about-
way it is.
But how about this? How about Aaron Rodgers was giving Devontae Adams tips so that he'll look good in the game? Because the more the Jets tank, the more Aaron Rodgers looks great. And
Yeah.
everyone can't wait till he gets back.
That's a really good theory. That's a really good theory.
You would love that theory.
No, I'm just saying it to gas him up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, you would hitch
Yeah.
your fucking rope to that one.
Yeah. Right. You know what they probably did? They probably went for a jog because I'm sure Rodgers is doing that too in his spare time.
Game
So
ball.
game ball. It's CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud, Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell, CJ Stroud, David Montgomery, guys like that. that just-
Passionate.
Josh Dobbs. There was yesterday as a whole, game ball, the NFL, because yesterday I felt like football really started. You know, we're around Thanksgiving where Bill used to say that's where football really starts. Well, I think for the Patriots.
The turducket's coming.
But like the teams start separating, you start to see who's good, who's not great. You start seeing these cold weather games. You can see people's breath. 5 field goal kicks to win the game yesterday. NFL record. Just some great football games, man.
This league.
This league, man. It's why it's king.
What we got?
Let's hear Fax's viral moment of the week.
My viral moment of the week
I haven't
goes.
seen this, by the way.
It goes to a La Liga soccer player. He's getting interviewed, and in the background, in his locker, he has a visible
Dookie
dirty
stain.
dookie stain in his underwear. And I had put in the group chat, this is the trickle down of not using a washcloth.
So here's my question, because I don't use a washcloth and I've never had that happen. So obviously that happens to you when you don't use a washcloth.
No, it's not that. It's
Theory.
just
Theory.
It's just
Theory.
common sense.
I have a theory.
It's just common sense.
If Nate
bro.
doesn't vigorously scrub his ass with a loofah, he poops his pants.
I know what the problem
And so
is.
if you have that problem, you should definitely
I
do
don't
that
know how you
loofah
did
enema
that.
every time you get in the shower.
Lufenema.
Lou Fenema.
Admin.
So Nate basically told on himself, said, when I don't wash my ass, I have shit stains.
I never said that.
Well,
I never said that.
in a way you did.
I say people who don't use washcloths, it's almost very hard to efficiently clean your ass. And you guys keep saying that you don't use
Unless
it.
you're willing to really rub some dirt on it, kid.
Or unless you're willing to use that bar of soap like a loofah, and that's the key.
You might lose it.
Okay?
He might have just had to shit himself during the game.
Yeah,
might
he probably just shit
lose
himself. He
it.
probably just, those guys have to run nonstop. They don't get any like
hanging up.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
my thing. You
why-
hang it up.
He
when
put
you
it up there
hang
like
it
a
up-
flag.
yeah, like yeah. I had some GI issues today too. That's the classic. Like, hey, it wasn't all my fault. I shit my pants today.
Bad shirt.
Where's he from? Pukistan?
I Pukistan. That's good. I'm trying to think of another country.
Yeah, it's tough.
Turkey.
Turkey. Okay. Scandinavia.
That's good.
I can't think of any more.
Me either.
Those were good
okay.
though.
Okay.
Let's hear it from our friends at Little Caesars.
And
before
into
talking
a
Monday Night
pizza
Football.
ad after we talked about Bobby Petrino's face and that guy shitting his pants.
Los Angeles.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right.
You're good at this.
I like it this game.
Okay. I'm still thinking.
They're good though.
Monday is still game day, and game day is the perfect pizza day. So make Little Caesars the official pizza sponsor of the NFL, part of your game day. Order online during our Pizza pregame 1 hour before and 3 hours after the NFL kickoffs, plus all day Sunday to have your NFL game day covered. I am currently Googling a world map.
Mississippi.
Choose your favorite Little Caesars pizza or pick the toppings you crave. It's a pizza win.
Alabama.
And speaking of winning, everyone scores with convenient delivery or our in-store pizza portal pickup. So grab some friends, order your Little Caesars, and enjoy during the game.
New York is too easy.
Yeah, it's too easy. It's too easy.
I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we're going to keep you guys can all leave. The show's over, but we're going to spend the last 30 seconds previewing the Monday Night Football game and thinking of countries that you can make double entendres with shit words. So
Leave some in the chat if you have some.
For real.
Broncos at the Bills. Bills are favored by 7.
Kyle,
Bills
take this
48.
one.
48.
Broncos at Bills. Look, this is a real trap game when I think about the Bills and the Broncos. You saw Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs team, albeit not at full power, a few weeks ago. 5 turnovers, zero touchdowns. Josh Allen, he's got a tendency to turn the football over. Broncos are an opportunistic defense with guys that have showcased themselves as really, really good players getting the football for Coach Payton. And you know they want nothing more than go there and spoil some of the Bills' chances. This should be fun.
Kyle, if you go to Uzbekistan, you can visit the Aspian Sea and the Anal Sea.
That's good.
Wow.
So you're using a map. I'm just going raw dog.
I know, Kyle, but I got all this shit on my brain right now. Okay, Bills and Broncos. This seems like a classic backdoor cover situation for the Broncos. I think the total, if I had to bet one, would probably be the under.
38.5.
I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't like getting out over my skis because then they put the social out and people are like, oh, what a dumb play. I don't even know if I'm going to play this game. Chances are I will. And if I had to, I'd probably go Broncos, catching as many points as possible, or the under.
I'm going Josh Allen anytime interception.
Oh, yeah.
Let's keep it going.
That sounds about right.
One a
Okay.
day.
So like, subscribe, tell all your friends. We will be Turkmenistan. We will be back next week at 1 o'clock for more of this. Pooland, Poland. It's right there, Kyle. We're going to get a whole list
The
together.
chat dropped a couple. It was Schittsburg and
Schittsburg.
Shart Lake City.
I was gonna
Charlotte Lake City.
say Cincinnati, I was going to say.
All right, well,
Cincinnati.
Puba. They opened Puba back up. You can go down there and visit. And anyways, you guys take care.